What's up, everyone, and welcome to Brohannya's podcast, episode 15. Today we have Special Agent, retired, Tim White. So it's really just going to be a lot of conversation about the FBI, what he did afterwards, what he did before, in between, all that good stuff. So you left the FBI and got an insurance.
Yes.
Why insurance?
That's a great question.
Of all things
This
to
is a
do.
great question. So I was getting to the point in my career, I did the FBI for 27 years, and I was a cop for 4 years before that. So I had 31 years of law enforcement experience. And, I got to the point where it's like, I should probably think about doing something else. And the FBI has a mandatory retirement age, which I was getting close to, but I wasn't there yet. And I didn't want to wait until they, mandatorily, said, okay, you're out. You've reached this age, you're gone. So it just got to a point where, I'd done a lot, been around the world. I really enjoyed my career in the FBI. But you get to a point, at least for me, I got to a point where I want to do something else. And I don't know what it is yet, but I want to do something else. So probably like most people, I put all my information on LinkedIn. And every single person who responded was, we want you to go to a foreign country and do this work for us and blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
tired of it.
Been there, done that, ain't going back.
Yeah.
So, and that's all I got for probably a month. And then a guy sent me some information about State Farm. And I was like, the first time I saw that, I was like, why would I do that? Delete. And he just persisted. Like every other day, he'd send me something about taking over an office, being the agent, running the office, and selling insurance. And so his persistence wore me down, and it got my curiosity up a little bit. And so, he said, let me take you out to lunch, and we'll talk about it. I said, sure. Somebody's going to buy me lunch, and I have nothing
to lose there.
Nothing to lose, so go ahead. And so we sat down and talked, and everything he said, especially because of my previous career, I was like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And so I told him too. I mean, it's like, you can make this kind of money, you can do this kind of stuff, you don't have to work that hard, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't believe it. He said, get in the car with me, and let me drive you around to some agents. I'll introduce you to them and I'll leave, and you talk to them. About the second person that I walked out and he was still in the car, I said, I'm in.
Heck yeah, dude.
Because everything they said was,
Yeah.
Hire good people. You don't have to be there all the time. You can pay yourself whatever you want to. No one dictates how you pay your employees and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's a dog. So everything was just too good to be true until I talked to these guys, and they all said the same thing to me. They said, you're crazy not to do this.
Yeah.
And the fact that he reached out to you and is basically saying, hey, you need to do this,
Yeah.
shows that he has confidence that you can do it. And, I've never lacked for confidence. I was like, I'm sure I can do it. But my concern was, it's going to cost me a ton of money. It's going to be a bunch of red tape I got to follow through, which was very much like working for the federal government. And so I was a little bit hesitant. But, I got to the point after a few days, talking to the wife about it and thinking about it, and said, there's really nothing to lose here. I mean, I have an investment I got to make in it eventually, but it wasn't very much money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I jumped, just took the chance, and that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, look at you.
And I tell you right now, I'll never stop.
Hey.
It's a business that never ends.
It is.
Of course.
And
It ain't
everybody's
going
got to
nowhere.
have. Everybody's got to have insurance.
Yeah.
They're not all going to buy it from me. That's fine. But it's one of those products everybody's got to have. There's no option in it. And then again, it's like one of those things. Everybody's got to have a car. You got a car. You got to have car insurance.
Yep.
But you talk to people, as a salesperson. They got your car insurance, and you go, who covers your house? Who covers your life insurance? Who covers all these other products?
Who's got your boat, your RV, your motorcycle?
I know, and I got clients that do that. They got 10, 15 different policies with me, and It's fantastic. That's all I can say. I mean, I've told everybody. I said, I'll die doing this because I'm not going to stop on my own.
I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to work that hard. That's the biggest thing.
And that's right. And again, I worked hard my whole life for the most part. I mean, it took a lot of risks. And now I really am not taking any risk. That's one of the things. Again, for a person who's done the career that I did, no one walks in and is trying to kill me.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I like that,
Yeah.
because I've had people try to kill me, trust me. So I'm real happy that nobody, I mean, the worst you get is an old woman coming in, you're too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can handle
Might
that.
have an attitude or
I
something.
can handle that. Not a
But
problem.
it ain't a man with a gun.
Exactly.
So, would you say that this is the best job you ever had?
That's interesting. I would say really the best job I ever had was the FBI job, and I'll say because it was a real challenge. It was.
Yeah.
It was. There were a lot of difficult things I did, a lot of fun things. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure we'll get to it. But I had to kill a guy. I thought I killed another guy that was trying to kill me. Both of them trying to kill me. Those are two separate incidents.
Yeah.
And those were hard things to get through in a lot of ways, because I think killing another person, especially, this
Takes
is
a
not
toll.
100 yards away. This is face to face,
Yeah.
every one of them. And so, those things are, I think anybody who has to take another person's life has some serious issues to deal with
Of course.
throughout their life.
Yeah.
And I've made my peace with it, but it changes you, that's for sure. I mean, we're not designed to kill each
Yeah.
other, in my opinion. God didn't make us
Yeah.
to go about and kill each other, but
Amen. Yeah.
we've been doing it
Forever.
since the beginning.
Yeah.
And I wish it weren't so, but that's the way it is. And, it's one of those things. You have to be prepared to be able to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who can't. And
Yeah.
I'm okay. That doesn't mean they're weak or, not brave or whatever. I know a lot of people who couldn't ever, do something that dramatic and take somebody's life.
Yeah, it's a
But
big deal.
if you're in a position where it's you or them,
Right.
Yeah.
Got to make a call.
I'm glad I'm still here.
Fight or
Right.
flight.
That's correct. And so, I don't know. So that's my view of it. And again, happy I did it. There was tough times. Don't get me wrong,
Of course.
but I'm happy I did it. It was the majority of it was a dream come true. Like I said, I worked bank robberies for the first, I don't want to say 8-9 years of my career. And pretty much everybody in that FBI office I was in kept telling me, you got to change. You need to change what you're doing. And I was going, why? Why would I do that? I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
And I was very successful. I caught a ton of bank robbers, sometimes in the act. And I was like, no, this is what God made me to do. I'm good at this. I'm going to keep doing it. But eventually, I had a really wise supervisor who sat me down and said, you can't do this your whole career. And he said some things that he noticed about my personality was a little bit different than it was when I first started. I
Yeah.
was walking around with, a chip on my shoulder and ready to pull out my gun and shoot somebody at anything, So it took a while, but that was a good, wise person who sat down and convinced me to do some other stuff
Right.
that wasn't so, violent and, difficult. You're on edge all the time when you're
Oh, you got
out
to be.
hunting somebody who's killed somebody, who's robbed banks, done all these things, and potentially, at the drop of a hat will kill you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I finally switched over and I actually started working what they call foreign counterintelligence, which is an interesting job, but not very exciting.
Yeah. That's yeah.
I kind of chilled out a little bit.
That's all right.
Yeah. And that gave me more time to spend with my 3 sons, and they were all, kind of 12 and down to like 7. And
Right.
it was good. I was able to coach their ball teams and spend more time with them and
Yeah.
kind of decompress.
Yeah,
over
of
those
course.
few
Get
years.
away from the fast movement and
The stress.
the
Yeah, and
stress.
not being home a lot too.
Yeah, that's
Because
it. That takes a toll on the
You're out
family.
on somebody's trail, and
Yeah.
you're hunting them down, and you talk to somebody, and they were just here a few minutes ago. They went this way. You know,
There is no going home.
right? You don't go home.
Right.
I'm not going home until I
Like,
catch the guy.
well, shift's over. I'll get them tomorrow.
No, that's not the way it works. But anyway,
Yeah.
So,
With that being said, what's the worst job you ever had?
oh, that's good. That is good. I'm gonna have to think on that one. Let me say this: my first job, my father, who's a great guy, owned his own business,
Same.
and neither one of you are going to know what this is, but it's called a tool and die business. You ever heard of that?
Like I think it was like a tap and die.
Right. Not that.
Right.
So when Ford wants to build a new car, they find people like my dad to make dies that are used to stamp out parts that make that car.
Oh.
Okay, so they would come to my dad and say, we need you to build this one piece that's going to be part of the Ford LTD limited edition, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And they'd give him all the drawings of it, exact dimensions of it, and all that stuff. And he could make that. I mean, I as a kid, I'd watch him do drafting and draw this
That's
stuff up.
crazy.
And you look at the drawings and, you're going, I don't even know what any of this means.
Yeah.
He did. And then he'd go into the shop where he had all these gigantic pieces of equipment. And back then, none of them were run by a computer. It was run by a person.
Yeah, he had to do everything.
Right. Everything was done by hand. Well, on a machine, but it was
Yeah.
it was amazing that he could go in there and do that. And of course, he had quite a few employees. And so I worked with him for, on and off, like during my summers and stuff like that. And then occasionally worked for him for a little bit longer. But that was really my first paying job. And again, it's one of those things, I probably acted like a typical teenager and hated going to work. But,
Of course.
Yeah.
that was kind of the way I dealt with it. But the reality was, I was like, this is really interesting.
Yeah,
I'm really
good.
surprised my dad's this smart and can do this stuff.
Yeah.
Really good.
That's awesome.
So that was my first job.
And nowadays they got all 3D printing and stuff. So
Yeah, I know. Today it's radically different.
Yeah.
And you can do it so much faster
Oh,
and
yeah.
probably far more.
you can make a lot more.
You can make a lot more, but you also are you're never off by thousandths of an inch.
No,
Right.
yeah,
You're
it's
always
it's,
dead
it's
on.
always precise.
He would always struggle with that. 'cause
Yeah, I bet.
They didn't have computers.
Making it by hand and stuff. Yeah. And measuring by hand and everything. Like, oh my God.
It was tough. So that was my first experience working, but it gave me a lot of appreciation for my father and his ability to do that stuff.
So I got a lot of like life questions for you.
Sure.
Before we get into the the deep stuff. What is the best advice you ignored but later realized was true?
All of it.
There's a lot of it, I'll tell you that. I think, too, as a father of 3 sons, it's interesting to me. You can give advice, you can give a lot of advice, a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
And I think that typically goes in one ear and out the other for most people.
A lot of times.
Until it's something that they're dealing with, something that's face to face they have to deal with and they don't understand or they don't know how to deal with it. That kind of advice is usually well taken, and it a lot of times creates a bond with you and that person once they listen to your advice and follow it, and things have a good outcome. So I can't really tell you specifically. I will say this, especially during my FBI career, I had a lot of interactions with other agents who were going through troubled times.
Yeah.
Me having a couple times having to kill people gave me some standing that probably other people didn't have, if
Right.
that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
I mean,
get what you're saying.
it didn't make me better than anybody else. It
No,
just,
but
I have gone through this before.
Right. You've experienced it, so you
So
understand.
the FBI would usually call on me when somebody else within our area had either themselves been wounded in a gun battle or killed somebody or
Shot
had a
them or
real
whatever.
traumatic incident that kind of messed them up. And so I enjoyed talking to those people. But now when I went through those things, I had people who talked to me. Most of them were psychiatrists and stuff like that, and they had some interesting things to say. And the FBI actually sent me and my wife to a 1-week school where we sat around with other people who had gone through significant trauma.
So that probably helped a lot.
And it really did help a lot. And I'll tell you a real quick story about that. So our first day at this school, you get somebody up there talking about trauma and how you deal with it. And then they go around the room and say, we want you to tell us why you're here, what trauma has sent you here. And about the first 3 or 4 people, I mean, I was shedding tears because these were people who had, for example, one guy, an FBI agent, who'd been an agent for 25 years or so, had a son who was in his 20s who was having a rough time. And the boy came into his room that night, took his pistol without him knowing about it because he was asleep, went back into his room, killed himself. No note, no discussion, no nothing. And that guy was ruined.
Yeah, of course.
Just ruined.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because there was no explanation for it. And there were several of things like that. And then, it comes to me and I go, well, I shot a bank robber and killed him.
Right, that's what I'm saying,
I'm not sure I should be here with you folks who've experienced such enormous, I don't know, catastrophe in your life.
But
I don't know how you get through that.
But maybe that's what helped you. Has been like it could have been worse.
It definitely helped because it's one of those things you're able to kind of, I don't want to prioritize, but put things in order.
There's always something worse that could have happened.
That's exactly right. I had some tough time, but not as tough as a lot of people.
This guy over here is,
That's
and I will say, I mean, that does change. All those things change you,
of course, hopefully
for the better. But those things always impact you. You can't not be impacted by taking somebody's life, seeing somebody killed in your presence, and that kind of stuff. It's just, it's hard. It's hard, but you deal with it. And again, the good thing is a lot of times, my pastor helped me through both those. It's the same guy who I love dearly, and my wife. And it's interesting. My sons were still very young, but they knew what happened. So little things like they would come up to me and say, "Dad, I'm glad you're still here." Something like that.
And that kind of makes you understand. Like,
gives you a little bit more clarity on it.
Well, I mean, it just helps, man.
It's to me those. I don't care what you do, but it's when your children start telling you they're glad you didn't get killed.
And that's something to think about too. I mean, imagine how different your son's life would be if it was you.
Exactly.
And your wife as well.
Right. That's
their whole life would have turned upside down.
Yep.
So
those are the.
All right. With that, what's something school has never taught you?
School never taught me? Oh, that's easy.
There's a few stuff, I'm assuming.
There's a lot of stuff. I mean, to me, school's interesting, and I went through high school and went to 4 years of college, and I actually went to law school.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I know. That's one of those.
You finished?
I'm not just so proud of it. No, I didn't. And let me tell you, I was in my 3rd year of law school. I had applied for the FBI twice, and they kept telling me, we're not hiring anybody. And I'd go back and reapply like every 3 or 4 months. And I was in my last year of law school, and this was before cell phones.
Right, yeah.
So I'm in Atlanta. I live like 30 miles away, and I was driving home. I got home, and phone's ringing. It's like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and I was, hello. And I said, hey, this is so-and-so from the FBI. I said, uh-huh. They said, how soon can you come to Quantico and start the FBI training? I was like, what? Seriously? They said, well, there's a class that opens up on Monday, and this was like Thursday. And they said, if you can be there, you're in. I said, come hell or high water,
I'll be there.
I'll be there. And I was the first person there. There was a class of like 35 of us, and I was there like 4 hours early.
Yeah, excited, yeah.
I was like, no matter what happens, I'm going to make it through this.
So what was training like?
It was good. And so it's like, and this is, I'm going to date myself. This was the 80s, early 80s. So it's an interesting thing. It's a really nice facility. Okay. You end up bunking with another person in a room where you both have a bed, and you share a bathroom that connects with 2 other people. And of course they divide you up, male and female. There was very few females in there, but So you develop some really good relationships. The training was difficult. It wasn't impossible, that's for sure.
Right.
A lot of firearms, a lot of educational stuff about how the FBI works and understanding the federal laws and how they apply and how you apply them in the particular circumstances that you're in and all that stuff. So it was a lot of that, but there was also a lot of great firearms training, a lot of physical training, fighting each other, learning how to use different weapons like batons and.
Did y'all use batons often?
We did. We used those batons that actually collapse, and you can
I've seen
hit
those
them
in
and they
movies.
come out. And they're okay. I've had issues with those though.
Like whether
using
wouldn't
them,
like
yeah.
retract or wouldn't extend? Or?
No, it's just that I'll say this: that I've been in a couple. We can talk about a couple life and death struggles, and one of them I did. Well, on both of them I did use physical force, being fists primarily, but I had used a baton once before on a guy, and it did absolutely nothing.
Was it a big guy, like a really big guy, or?
He was a big, strong
So,
guy,
yeah.
and I hit him in the. They told us we're supposed to hit him in the thigh or in
Try to
the
drop him.
shoulder, but you can't hit the head, you can't hit the chest because it's lethal, potentially lethal.
Okay.
So, I remember hitting a guy a couple times with my baton, and it was like he was just kind of like.
Just okay, dude.
Eating
I
it.
was like, okay, I'm done with this. And then it's like when you're
Yeah.
done with it, it's like, what am I going to do with it now? Because it takes up a hand.
Yeah.
You know, so you really just kind of drop it. And they
Yeah.
might grab it and use it on you, but I mean, there's nothing else I can do with it.
Right.
So, I don't know. Those were difficult, but
So did you learn hand-to-hand combat as well?
yeah, there was a lot of boxing instruction, grappling instruction.
Of course.
You know, how to put people in chokeholds, how to use come-alongs if you've ever, you know, like pressure points and come-alongs. I don't know if you know what
Okay.
that is. It's like here, this is a particular come-along,
Oh,
and
yeah.
especially if I can get you to straighten your arm out.
Oh yeah.
Then I use that, and I use some of those. They work sometimes, and sometimes they don't. Because again, it's one of those things. You guys probably know this. When your adrenaline's flowing,
Yeah, reason goes out the window.
and feeling. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I've been hitting the head hard,
Didn't
and
even
it's like
notice.
no problem.
and then, and
What
it's
you're-
it's after the fact. You're like, oh,
yeah.
man,
Then you
like,
got to go to the
ah.
doctor and go, okay, my jaw's broken or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and you hurt forever. You know, for
Yeah.
weeks on end, and then, but in the midst of a fight, I've been in a couple of them where it was fisticuffs, and I felt nothing. I knew I was punched in the face several times, and it didn't. Just doesn't like register. It's like, okay, yeah, he hit me.
Because adrenaline, yeah.
Yeah, the adrenaline's flowing, and I hit him, and he hits me back.
Yeah, you're just sitting there
Boxing
brawling,
each
yeah.
other. It's like, okay, and eventually you go, this is not working. I'm gonna try something else, you know. And
Right.
you know, you reach into your toolbox and try to find something else that works. But yeah. I mean, that's some. Yeah, there's a lot of training on that kind of stuff, and I would think, you know, too. The reality is probably most. Be careful I say this. Most FBI agents don't work violent crime. The majority of agents work things like counterintelligence. You're probably never going to get into a gunfight or
Yeah.
a fight. White collar crime, you're probably never going to have a
Somebody pull a gun or whatever.
probably
yeah.
never.
white collar's interesting though, because like that's when you get into like art forgery and
The biggest white collar crime we dealt with, believe it or not, were banks who were not following correct procedures, the correct law for banking, and we had people who owned banks who were basically taking money from the bank and putting it in their pockets.
That sounds about right.
that's
Those
crazy.
were the guys that were good to see them get caught and go
Yeah.
to prison, because they'd go to prison for 20 years. And they'd all be like 50, 60 years old
Yeah.
and have a ton of wealth.
Of course.
But then all that gets taken as part of what happens when you get convicted like that of a financial crime,
Yeah.
is the government's going to take all your.
They take
money.
it,
Yeah.
right?
If
Because don't they take those assets and they use them to pay people back sometimes?
They
or-
do. And this one guy that I can't see his face, I can't remember his name, but he was the president of a bunch of banks out west. This is while I was in LA. And they sent him to prison for like 20 years. He was already like 70 years old.
He was
And
what,
he
probably
had
a
to
billionaire
forfeit.
at this point already?
What now?
Was he already like a billionaire at this point?
Oh, I'm sure he was. He's one of the richest guys in America.
So why risk it?
That's a great question, but I really think it comes down to the human nature, in my opinion, is if you can do something that you know you're not supposed to do, okay, you're convinced it's immoral, illegal, you shouldn't do it, and you do it and you get away with it.
That feeling of
what happens?
That rush. Yeah.
Well,
That excitement that comes off of it.
I would just suggest part of it is you go, I didn't get caught,
Yeah.
so I can do it again,
Yeah.
and that just if you can do it and not get caught,
You can
great.
keep doing. Yeah.
but
Eventually.
if you think you can just keep on doing it, you're
gonna
probably
get
going to
caught.
get caught
Yeah.
eventually. Yeah,
Oh, the
And that-
rain's coming.
yeah.
Might want to finish these stogies and move
Hopefully
into
it'll
the
blow
house.
over.
We'll see.
It wasn't even supposed to rain tonight.
No, it wasn't.
They lied.
With that coming, we can
We can put up that doggone
umbrella.
umbrella if you want to.
You think it'll cover the whole table?
We'll probably have to scoot in a little bit, but yeah.
We'll see. That's up to y'all.
So, initially, why law enforcement as a career choice?
That's a great question. It wasn't my choice.
So, so you became a cop after college?
Yeah, so right after college, actually, I got out like a semester early because I, had all the credits and didn't want to pay them any more money.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
So I came home and she still had a semester to do, and we were pretty close. And we were I was talking about marriage, but she wasn't
Right.
ready.
Of course.
So I came home and got a job with a buddy of mine doing landscaping, which is awful, of course. And did that for a little while, and then stayed in touch with her. And she did a lot of stuff. She was like going all over the place doing stuff. And I finally got to a point where, I just told her bluntly, I'd love for us to get together, really pursue. I really want to pursue you, but you can't be going to. She was like in the Grand Canyon for 3 months, and then she went somewhere else. She was just doing all sorts of stuff she could do.
Oh, awesome.
Just seeing, and yeah, she was just seeing the world. And I was like, I need you to come a little bit closer so we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it happen.
She's like, I don't know about that. Whatever. She was giving me the I don't know, maybe, kind of, sort of, I don't know. So eventually, she graduated, and when she did, I just told her, I said, I'm going to come down. We live about 200 miles apart. Said, I'd like to come down and spend some time with you. And she was like, okay, let me talk to my parents. I said, I'm not going to live with you. I'm just, going to,
Right.
a hotel room or something.
Yeah.
So we got together a little bit, and, I just kept telling her, I said, you're the one. I want to marry you.
Yeah.
Not dropping down on a knee with a ring. I was
Of
just,
course.
just
Yeah,
saying,
just
hey,
conversating,
I'm just telling you exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
She's like, okay. That was it. It
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
any
awesome.
like, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, of course. You had to work for it. But
I really did have to work for it.
but, yeah,
So
that's
it was
part
a
of
while.
Yeah.
It was a while, but eventually, she never really reciprocated. And so I just started dating some other girls
Oh, man.
in hopes that she would
Get jealous or?
get jealous of it, and it worked.
There
Yep.
you go.
It
That's how it
totally
works.
worked. And one day she knocked on my apartment door, and I opened the door, and she's like, and we hadn't been out for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. And so she came in, and she's like, what's going on? I could
Yeah.
tell. I
You
knew,
knew
I
it.
knew it.
Yeah.
Right then I knew it. It's like, this is going, it's all to my favor.
Exactly
Yeah.
what you wanted.
This is it. Yeah.
So, it's one of those things. Well, let's start dating again. We'll see where this
Awesome.
goes. And it didn't last long. We dated for like maybe 2 months, and I proposed.
That's
She
awesome.
finally said yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And happy as I could be.
Didn't waste no time either. That's awesome.
And she's there's a lot of great women out in the world. Don't get me wrong, but she's the type. Once she says yes, shut the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's done. It's over with.
Yep.
Don't
Yeah.
have to worry about it.
Yep.
It's over.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good.
And I knew that's who she was. She's a great girl.
So were you already living in Georgia?
Yeah, then I was in Georgia still, and I was kind of going back and forth between that because I had a job down in Macon where I went to college, and I was going back and forth there to my house, and I had an apartment, cheap, nasty little apartment with another guy who was still in school. You know, and we never washed dishes or cleaned up. You know how that is.
Yep.
I mean, it was just kind of. I got to the point where I was like, I really should do something like clean that place up or whatever, but I don't think so. I mean, it's one of those things that dishes in the sink, you'd have to wash something to, you know, eat something.
See, luckily we lived together at one point, but when we lived together, we had our wives living with us as well.
Nice.
So we didn't have to do anything.
It was a cakewalk.
That's good.
Easy money.
Because you know, and the way it was he was working during the day and going to school, or
going
no,
to school
he was
during the
going
day,
to school
working
during
at
the day,
night.
working at night.
So I'd leave at like 6 a.m. I wouldn't get home till like 11:30.
Oh my gosh.
And so while he was gone, I would come home from work, and my wife would be home, and then his wife would get home, and then I would literally walk in, take a shower, probably make a drink or something, and watch TV all night.
Yeah.
Because I knew from the moment I walked in the door, like, they were making dinner, they did the dishes, the laundry was done, like everything was just one after another. It was like a checklist, and I was like, and for 2 months I lived like a king. And then when he would be home from school, like he'd take a night off or something, or work. I mean, we would literally just watch fights, drink, hang out. It was a great time.
Yeah. That was an easy life.
It was so easy. God, it was wonderful.
Well, work and school sucked, but other than that, it was easy.
I mean, it was just, you know, because we were already hanging out, and so I mean, it was great.
The wives were arguing the whole time.
Yeah,
Those two, oh my God.
couldn't have been. They argue like a married couple.
Dude,
Me and
they
him
were
be
at
sitting
it.
in there trying to watch TV, be like, "Hey man, can you shut up?"
Yeah, they were arguing about whatever.
But it was a good time.
Yeah.
So when you live with the right people, it's fun.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What else? I mean, I technically barely counted. I was barely there.
Yeah.
I was just a visitor, pretty much. I'd show up to
You were the
sleep.
moneymaker.
I'd just show up and go to bed. That's it. Yeah.
Fun times.
Good times.
For sure.
So, what would you tell your younger self?
Oh gosh. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Yeah. I think all of us have anxiety to some degree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I probably had a lot of anxiety from the standpoint of what the hell am I going to do? You know,
Oh, yeah, I went through that.
you know, I got to the point where, you know, I knew she was the one and she was kind of playing hard to get.
I went through
And
that as well.
I knew I needed to find something that was going to be fulfilling, great work that I wanted to do. And I didn't know really what I wanted to do for the most part. There was a time there I'd really kind of decided I was going to pursue being a pastor. So I did that for a little while, but I got to the point too where I got a couple opportunities to preach, a couple places, and you know, I was like, I really don't want to do this. You know?
Yeah,
I think I could do it, but I don't think I'd enjoy it. You know,
Right.
once you start doing it, it's like I don't think I really enjoy doing
It's not
it.
your purpose.
What's that?
It wasn't your purpose.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't. It really wasn't what I would say it's your calling. It wasn't my
Or
calling.
your calling, that's
And
what
I
it
didn't
was,
know
yeah.
what my calling was until, you know. So the point of all that is right after I finished college and spent a few months kind of waiting on her, and she didn't come.
Right.
I went back to my home and was living with my parents. And I was working with a friend of mine who was a guy at church. He was like a deacon in the church, and we were good friends. And you know, he knew I didn't have a job, so he hired me to do landscaping for him.
Yep.
So I did that for about 2 months. And while I was doing that, you know, I was still dealing with her, if that's going to work out, don't know what's going to happen. And at some point, my mom walks up one day with a newspaper for Fayetteville, which is about 10 pages of newspaper, and she lays down the one ad. She said they're hiring deputies. And I have never showed any interest in law enforcement, never said
that's
anything.
what got it.
And the only reason she put it down is because they paid $1,000 a month. And I was making like $250 an hour. Now, $1,000 a month ain't much.
What year was this?
Oh gosh, 82.
Oh, that sounds like decent money,
So
actually.
$1,000 a month was pretty.
Well,
Yeah.
it was a
It was
heck of a lot.
substantially more
It
than
was a
what you
heck
were
of a lot.
making.
Yeah, for
I was
sure.
making. To me, it was like
Yeah,
That's
balling.
awesome.
It's like
Yeah.
striking
so.
gold.
I literally took the newspaper ad, and I'd just gotten in from working all day landscaping, so I had like a white T-shirt on with dirt all over it, pants all dirty. Walked up to the sheriff's office because it was only like 2 miles away from the house. Went inside, threw that down on the desk. Lady said, "What's this?" I said, "It says you're hiring." She says, "Oh, you want an application?" I said, "Sure." So she sends me one page That's all it is. One page on the front, name, address, background, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I've got my name filled out, maybe my address, and somebody walks up and says, hey, I turn around and this guy's got shoulders this big guy. And he said, what are you doing? I said, filling out an application? He goes, follow me. So he walks me to his office. Goes in his office was easy as big as this entire deck, maybe bigger.
Oh, wow.
And he goes and sits down behind this desk, and there's only one other chair, and it's like as far away as you can get, So it's funny, I'm sitting there going, this is just so weird. And of course, he had a bunch of dead animals on the wall, and a bunch of pictures of dead people and stuff.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they used to do that. Everybody in law enforcement had pictures of people they killed.
What?
Yes, you don't know that. I'm telling you. It happened all the time in places I'd go.
I never knew that.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
I know
That's
it's
actually
crazy.
insane.
And it's one of those things like, whoa. I'm not sure I'd want to have a picture of a guy with a couple of bullet holes in his chest. But anyway, we sit there and he's looking at my little piece of paper and I've only filled out my name and address. And he says, so why do you want to be a deputy sheriff? And of course, my answer was because you're paying $1,000 a month.
Of course.
But I couldn't say that.
Yeah.
I figured that's not going to get me the job. So I was like, well, I just got out of college, just finished my degree, and I was just thinking about, the potential of, getting into law enforcement. I'm like, I'm interested. He said, how soon can you start? I swear, that's the way the conversation went. I said, tomorrow? He says, be here tomorrow. That was it.
It's crazy how things work out.
It was crazy, and I left there going, I just signed up for a job.
That was easy. Yeah.
I got a job.
Yeah.
So I show up the next day at 8 o'clock, and he gives me some uniform pants and a uniform shirt and a belt, and then he gives me a gun belt that doesn't have a gun in it. He says, we're going to the range. I said, okay. We drive to the range. We get out. He puts up a target, and I'm shooting. You probably don't know what this is. It's a big, heavy stainless steel revolver. It's like this big. It's massive. You could use it as a boat anchor. I mean, it's just a massive gun.
Yeah.
And no eye protection, no hearing protection, no nothing. He hands me the gun and says, shoot that target. Now I'm deaf, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Come over here, shoot this target. Okay, come over here. Okay. It says, we're done. Follow me, get in the car, we're going back to the apartment. So, okay. Then he starts handing me uniform pants and a uniform shirt, and he gives me a badge. And I'm going, so I'm in? He goes, yeah, you're a deputy sheriff. He said, you'll have to come in tomorrow, and the sheriff will swear you in. And I said, okay. And that was it.
So at this point, have you ever shot a gun at this point, or was that your first time shooting?
Yeah, my dad and I, we shot, and he's a big deer hunter. And
So you were a good
mostly
shot? Or?
No. Mostly we shot rifles. And that was one of the
handguns are so
first
different.
times I'd ever shot a handgun,
Yeah.
and it was a .357 Magnum
Oof.
gigantic
Ooh.
revolver.
Right.
And I was awful with it. And
Oh,
there's
yeah,
one
of
thing I
course.
felt bad, because gosh, I've never really shot
Yeah.
handguns that much. And so, anyway, yeah, that was it. He said, you're in. And I was like, okay, what do I do? So it's like the first week, he said, all you're going to do is stay in the office and kind of see what goes on in the office. Okay. So I just hung out in the office.
Yeah.
Next week, you're going to stay in the jail. I was in the jail, which is attached to the office. There was nobody in jail.
Oh my God, that was boring, huh?
Yeah. And I just sat there. And from 8 to 5, then left for that week. And then the next week, he said, you're going to ride around with this sergeant, and he's going to show you how to do the job. So for 1 week, I rode with this lazy, no good guy. And all we did was go find places to hide so nobody would see us.
Oh my God.
Now, we ate breakfast
course.
and lunch
And dinner.
and dinner, but otherwise we were hiding from people.
Jesus.
And that's what he'd say. You don't want anybody to see you, because you might have to do something. I was like, oh my gosh,
And it's a sheriff?
it's crazy. So that was like it was like 2 weeks I did that. So eventually they say, okay, you're done with your training. I had been to no kind of academy or anything.
Yeah.
And they said, show up on Sunday night, 11 p.m., and that will be your first shift. It's a great story, too. I think it's hilarious. So I show up at 10:30, of course, and I'm sitting there waiting for whatever's going to happen. And 2 other guys come in who are already deputy sheriffs, and we're sitting, nobody says anything to me. And then this big, heavy-set guy with long, dark hair, big old mustache comes in, and he is as flamboyant a person, not gay, but just flamboyant. I don't know how to express it. He was a character. His name was Francis Ignatius Cavender.
What a name.
I know. And
That's a name
he sat there. He stood at the podium. He said, Billy, you go north. John, you go south. New guy, you come with me. I got in the car with him. And I started learning everything not to do.
Oh my God.
As a deputy sheriff. And I knew. I was like, this ain't right.
Yeah.
So he was just a character. He was the kind of guy who loved to laugh. He never took anything serious. Never. Everything was always a joke. And I worked with him for like the next 6 months on what we call midnight shift. I'd come in every night, midnight, and for 5 days straight. And it was a blast. I had a blast. But it was one of those things, I knew this wasn't right. This just can't be right. I don't know what the law is. I don't know what I'm really supposed to do.
Right.
But I'm sure this
But
ain't
it's not
it.
this.
Whatever this is, this ain't right.
Right.
I'll tell you this one story. He even texted me. Now, this was the 1980s, early 80s. He texted me the other day. He said, do you remember the fried egg story? I'll tell you the fried egg story. So here we go. I'm patrolling, and it's like a Monday night, and it's probably 2 a.m. And there's this town or county I'm in. It's pretty not very heavily populated. So I'm driving down the main roadway, and I see a car. This long, straight thing. I see a car off the road, just a little bit off the road in the grass, and the lights are on, and it's just sitting there. It's like, that ain't right, because they like went over the opposite lane and then went into the grass. So I get over and pull behind them, turn on the blue lights, and I can see somebody in the driver wheel like this,
Oh,
and
man.
I see somebody in the other side like this. Well, they could be dead.
Yeah.
Or they're just drunk out of their
Yep.
minds. So, I call it in. Hey, I'm out on this car, give them the license plate, this is where I'm at, blah, blah, blah. And it just turns out that my sergeant, Francis, was only a mile or so away. So he's on his way. It doesn't say anything, but he's on his way. So by the time he gets there, I'm with my flashlight looking in the window at this guy who's in the driver's seat, and his foot's on the brake, okay? And the car is on, all right? But his foot's on the brake, and he has Waffle House, fried eggs, and grits in his lap, and he's passed out, okay? Just like this. And so I'm sitting there thinking, if I open the door and he falls out, then the car goes off into the ditch.
Yep.
I mean, it's a pretty big fall off here.
Yeah.
And there's a woman on the other side, and she too has a plate of Waffle House, and she's passed out. Okay? So I was going, I'm really not sure what to do here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I just don't know what to do. So here comes Francis,
Yeah.
parks behind me, gets out, walks up, and he goes, I forgot exactly what he said, but it was something like, well, they're fucked up. I said, well, what are we going to do? He says, what do you mean, what are we going to do? I said, well, if you yank him out of the car is going to, he's got it still in drive. It's just going to go. And he said, watch this. He just opens the door, snatches the guy by the collar, literally just goes, whoom, and off he goes. This guy goes like 10 feet.
Oh, my God.
He was a big man. He jumps in, slams in, because it's starting to move now. He slams it in, park. She never wakes up. He never wakes up.
Oh my
Still both of
God.
them dead asleep. And so he then starts, he grabs the guy, drags him back to the car, still not awake. And he starts like poking his finger in his eye. And he's like jumping around, but he's still asleep. And he's just making all kind of jokes. Like, I don't even repeat them. They were all, one of these things, just like awful stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
I'm going, will you leave that guy alone? Yeah, he's drunk. We should take him to jail. I said, but you need to stop you know, he's like grabbing his head and put it up against his crotch and stuff. I'm just crazy stuff. I'm going, don't do that. You can't do that. Come on.
Dude.
So we finally pull them both out, and they never woke up. Neither one of them woke up. We had to cuff them up. We had to call in for an ambulance to come pick them up because, again, they were breathing. They were obviously alive. But
Right.
But they were just
we don't know.
incoherent.
I have no idea what kind of drugs they were.
I was going to say drugs, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
It
for
can't
sure.
be alcohol to do that.
But to this day, he texts me and always says, "Do you remember the fried egg story?" That's what he always calls it.
Yeah. That's
He texted me like a week ago. You remember the fried egg story? I said, "Yeah, I remember."
Oh my God. That is crazy.
Okay, so just to pick back up, were you so you weren't recruited by the FBI?
No.
But was it hard adjusting from being a police officer
Oh yeah. I can
to
imagine.
being
Oh,
an
yeah.
agent?
Oh yeah.
Especially that type of police
Yeah.
officer.
I mean, because
like,
it was, again. I don't want to poop on people back then, what the jobs they did. Don't get me wrong, but
right.
it was very different. So yeah, you know, I applied. It's a pretty good story. So I applied while I was still with the Sheriff's Department, and I drove up to the FBI office. This was, again, we didn't have sending stuff via fax or internet. So I went up there, got an application, which literally was a book. I mean, it was an entire book. You had to put photos in it and all this stuff. You had to put people's recommendations in there. And it took me a solid month while working to go around and get people to help me fill out this application, which was, again, it was like a book. I mean, it's easy that thick, you know.
Jesus.
So I do this, and now it's maybe 2 weeks after I got it. So I drive it up there one day before my shift and go in their office and say, okay, here's my application. And there's a guy who's an applicant coordinator. He does all that stuff. So he's the one who gave me the application. So I give it to him, and he says, don't turn it in. And I said, what do you mean, don't turn it in? He said, you gave it to me 2 weeks ago. I worked on this thing for weeks now. I've got all the stuff filled out. What do you mean, don't turn it in?
Right, yeah.
He said, well, they're not hiring anybody right now. I said, that's not my problem. I said, I want
Take
you
it,
to take
yeah.
it, and maybe they'll start hiring next week. I don't know.
Right.
Apparently you don't know. You just know they're not hiring. But I'm not going to keep it. Take it. He goes, okay, I'll take it. Which I thought, well, it's kind of easy. I thought he was not going to take it.
Yeah.
And sure as, you know, crazy stuff happens. It was like about 7 days later, I drive up to my house. I walk up the steps to my house. The phone's ringing. I go over. Hello. He says, Tim White? I said, yeah. He said, this is Joe Smith for the FBI. I said, hey, how you doing? He said, pretty good. He said, well, guess what? You've been selected. And I said, I thought you said they weren't hiring anybody. He said, well, I thought they weren't either. He said, but they are. And you got selected. And I said, okay. He said, how soon can you get to Quantico? He said, there's a class that starts in like 5 days. I said, I'll be there. He said, you can go? I said, yeah. He said, that's fantastic. He said, because you'll be the last person that we put in this class. So I will have full class. I said, yeah. So sure enough, drove up there and sat in the waiting room. And next thing you know, the other people show up and they said, okay, it's time for all you guys to find out where your room is.
So, through your time in the FBI, I'm sure you worked with other agencies.
Yeah.
DEA, CIA,
Yes.
all the IAs, EA,
Yes.
whatever.
DIA, yes. CIA had some really interesting stuff with them.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So out of all of them, which one was the worst that you worked with? Wow. And maybe not just a specific agency, but maybe you had a bad time with some person.
So for the most part, when I was in LA, let me say this. When I was in LA, I worked with, every little city has their own police department in the greater Los Angeles area. And then Los Angeles has a huge, police department. And so I did bank robberies, like I said, for, I don't know, I think about 10 years.
That's crazy.
Before they said I couldn't do it anymore. So I got to know all the robbery detectives at every little police department in Orange County and quite a few in LA County. And we had meeting once a month of just robbery detectives that I would go to. And I was the only FBI guy who showed up at those meetings. So, there's typically a good relationship between most, like I say, detectives anyway, and FBI agents. They work together. And so I was a lot of times by myself because I was one of 4 guys who worked bank robberies in our office, and one guy just really didn't work very hard and never got in trouble. So, and again, that's fine. I didn't care.
There's always one.
Right, there's always one line. So the other 2 guys were always willing to go on arrests or go do interviews or go to a bank that's just been robbed. Every time a bank was robbed, they'd call us and the police. And we would go to the scene and try to, do something, immediately, usually interview all the witnesses. And the cops would help us, and they'd say, okay, you interview those 10 people, you interview those 3 people, I'll interview these 2 people, whatever. And then we'd, put all our work together and see what we had. And sometimes, I'm going to tell you, here's a great example. It was like, I've got several interesting stories, but this one's, I just think, funny. So it was probably like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We get this, hey, bank robbery call. And of course, most of the guys who worked back, I don't have time, I got to go home. I was like, no problem, I'm going. Drive up there, show up, and 2 cops or detectives there that I know, and they said, hey, the guy left the demand note here. You want to see it? I said, sure. So they've got it in a cellophane, thing you can see through. And I'm looking at it, and it's just got, I've got a gun, give me the money, or something. It was really simple. And so I'm sitting there looking at it, and, I take it, I flip it over, because no one has done this yet. On the back of it, it's a payroll thing.
No way.
No, it's a payroll. It's, Joe Smith, payment for, 80 hours, blah, 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 and his address.
Well, that was easy.
I know, I'm sitting there, and detectives was like, no, well, we didn't turn it over. I said, well, it can't be this easy. He said, well, it could be. I said, well, where's this address? Because I wasn't quite sure where we were exactly according to the address. He said, it's that building right next door. I said,
no way, dude.
I said, let's walk over there and see what happens. We go over there, and it's an apartment building. It's got his apartment number on it. We go up, and nothing. Now, boom, bam, 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 nothing. Then, the cops start kicking the door. Not trying to kick it in, but, making a real loud noise. They were saying, I forgot it was like, Buena Park police opened the door. And then you heard this voice said, there's nobody here. We looked at each other, we started laughing. And he said, obviously you're in there, and if you don't open up the damn door, we're going to kick it in.
Yeah.
He goes, okay, I'll open the door. And like 3 or 4 minutes go by, and we said, all right, we're kicking in the door. He goes, well, wait a minute. I'm going to open the door. And this went on for about, 7 or 8 minutes, him saying he was going to open it, he never did. So anyway, the guy finally comes and unclicks the little hard lock thing. And
Yeah.
we just open the door, and he's like, what? Turn around. Cuts you out.
Oh my God.
That was one of the easiest ones ever.
I was going to say, that has to be probably the easiest.
The easiest one, and the money was right there. We literally took the money. We got to hold it for evidence for like 10 days, and then we give it back to the bank. But I had quite a few like that were just so easy. Then there were some hard ones, some real hard ones. We had a group of people who were. So to try to make a long story short, we had a group of people who would go out and do surveillance on a couple of banks, and figure out, they had some idea that specific banks had more money than other banks. It wasn't based in reality. That's what they thought, and that's what they had learned, through the internet or something. This was before the internet, but somehow they thought this was the case. And these guys they were pretty good at what they did. They would send a woman who was part of their group in each bank to talk about opening an account. Of course, she never opened an account, but she just went and got information from people, and she would, discreetly write people's names down, who was the manager, who was the assistant manager, and stuff like that. And then she'd come out, and then they would surveil the manager and any other people over a period of days. Find out where they lived, they had families, that kind of stuff. And then on a Sunday night, the guy who was the ringleader and another guy would knock on their door, like 9 o'clock at night. And if they opened up the door, they would just rush in. And then they would handcuff everybody. They would use duct tape everybody, duct tape their mouths. And they'd tell the person who they knew was the manager, here's what you're going to do. Tomorrow you're going to go in the bank. You're going to open it up like you always do. That we know the process, how you do it, because we've watched you do it. You're going to do it like you normally do. You're not going to set off any alarms. We're going to still be here with your family. And if you do set off an alarm, we're going to kill them. If you don't set off an alarm, everything's going to be fine. We're going to get the money. We're all going to leave, and you can go back and get your people and let them loose. And so the first time they did that in Orange County where I worked, they'd done a few others, but they were all in LA, and I wasn't the head person investigating it. But the one that happened in my area, I was the head person investigating it. So one of the things that happened, we got together with all the other robberies they'd done, and there was this, the method that they used was exactly the same every time. So we knew it was the right people, but they were doing it in Florida, LA, somewhere Midwest.
Jesus.
Yeah, and they were each time they were getting like $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, something.
Which was a chunk of change
big
back
money.
then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big money. So
That's pretty smart the way they were doing it too. That's like some movie stuff.
Yeah,
right there.
that's
right, and it really this really could have been I think pretty good movie. But anyway,
Yeah.
so the girl who they focused on in my territory, when they told her to go to the bank that morning, they took a walkie-talkie and they taped it to her chest, and then she put a jacket on over it and turned it on. They said, we can hear everything you say because we've made the little talk button on all the time. So everything you say we'll hear.
Yeah.
And so she went into the bank and she did exactly what they told her to do. She got the money, she put it in a suitcase, she took the suitcase to the place that they told her to leave it, and then she went back to the bank and they picked up the money and they left. So I go in with the cops in the area and we start, doing the investigation. And the only thing we have is this radio with duct tape on it too. And so I talked them into let me take this and I will send it to the FBI lab, and maybe we'll get some fingerprints or some hair or something, some fiber or something that'll help us out. They said fine. So I sent it back to the FBI lab, and they did a whole little really nice examination of everything, gave me back all the details. And so I was talking to them and I said, well, did you look up, the name of the company, the serial numbers that are on these radios, and how long they've been for sale, and where are they sold? I want all that information. They said, yeah, we can get all that. So they did. They sent it all to me in a document. And the essence of it was, these radios were new. So they had only sold,
Oh man.
like, I don't know what it was, 80 radios across the country.
Oh man.
Handheld radios, walkie-talkies. And so I was like, okay, well, do you know how many were sent to LA? And I'm thinking it's got to be 15, 20 shops that sold them.
yeah.
One shop. So
Oh,
I was like, this can't be this easy. So, as soon as I find out, I go to this shop, and it is like a Radio Shack kind of shop, but it's one guy owns it and one guy works there.
Nice.
And as you walk in, there's shit everywhere. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like I'm thinking this guy will never be able to help me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got literally electronic pieces and wires
Just spread all over the place.
everywhere. It was total chaos. So I'm like, this is not going to work. So I throw down the FBI credentials. Here's what happened. Here's what I'm trying to do. Blah blah blah. Did you buy some of this radio? He goes, yeah. I said, really? He goes, yeah. How many did you buy?
One.
No, he bought 4. I bought 4 of them, but I only sold 1. I said, what? How do you, all this off the top of his head.
Yeah.
And I said, how did you remember this? This was like 3 weeks ago now. He goes, I remember it because there was a woman who came in to buy them, and she was like Hispanic, but she was really attractive too. And she was like coming on to me and stuff. And I was just totally shocked. This guy was so good at remembering all this crap. And so he goes through the whole litany about what happened. And I said, okay. I said, so do you know the serial number on it? He goes, yeah, I got the serial number on it.
Oh, wow.
It just can't be.
So he had all the
He has
information.
everything I needed, pretty much. And the FBI lab had some fingerprints on the tape. And we didn't know whose they were.
Because they weren't in the database.
Well, so, I had to get fingerprints from everybody at the bank and the cops and everybody who touched it, send it back to the lab, and they said none of those prints match the prints that are on here. I said, well, have you run the prints through the database? No, we haven't. I said, well, how about doing that?
Run
Can you do that right away? Yeah, we'll do it right away. So it was like a week later, they send me a communication saying, the fingerprints on this match a guy whose name is Ralph Gambin, Gambin. I said, okay. So what do we know about Ralph Gambin? They said, oh, you haven't run him yet? I said, no. This guy's been in prison for like 35 years. I said, seriously? What for? Guess.
Bank
Bank
robbery.
Bank robbery. I said, get out. This can't be that easy. So I find a picture of him. And again, they were wearing masks. But I go to the woman who had the thing strapped to her chest, put 5 other guys in this guy's picture. Any of these guys look like the guy who robbed you? She goes, that's him. Without any hesitation, that's the guy. Even though he's wearing sunglasses,
Yeah.
and he had on like fake beard, fake beard glued to his face. And I said, oh, thank you very much. Of course, documented all that stuff. So then, I put out, we didn't know where he was, of course. And then I put out a communication to all FBI offices in the United States about the MO of the robbery that we had. Well, it turns out they did 2 in Miami. They did like 2 in Houston. They did the 1 in LA, and they did 1 only like 2 weeks later in like Indiana or something.
So they were moving.
They were making money. They were going through it like crazy, and they figured they had this
they thought they had it
unbreakable
down.
MO, and nobody was going to be able to get them. So of course, I then got a warrant for the guy's arrest, Gambin, and started working with the marshals. Are really good at hunting people down. That's kind of what they do for the most part. They also have to transport prisoners, federal prisoners around, but they have a task force for U.S. Marshals that all they do is if you want somebody to hunt somebody down and find them.
That's all they do.
That's what they do. And so I got in touch with them and said, we need to find this guy if we can find him. And I said, I can tell you that the woman he's, with is from Texas. And the guy we're looking at is from, I don't know, it's like Washington State. And we know they have family in Chicago, but they also have family down in Texas. So they were like, yeah, we'll find them.
That's crazy.
And they just set out hunting.
They did, but I'm sure they used a bunch of different teams and went to various places. And
That's crazy.
You know,
They were all
yeah.
going all around the U.S.
they were, and they were making good money too. Trust me. In the end, I think it was like right at $1 million that they stole
In the 80s?
Yeah.
Ooh,
In the 80s, yeah.
yeah.
because they did. I want to say 6 robberies. They did like 2 in Miami, back to back within like a week of each other. They just did the 1 in L.A., but they did a couple in Texas, a couple somewhere else. But they were just running through the money, you know.
It's crazy that they were moving that fast,
yeah.
though.
But,
Yeah, they.
But I just want to say, I think a lot of those guys who are like lifetime crooks, I think they realize I'm out, and I'm going to keep doing what I do, which is bad stuff, and I need to do it really fast because
Eventually, I'm
I'm going to get shot and killed or get arrested and be back in prison for the rest of my life.
Well, that's like, because, I would say for the most part, most people would be lucky to pull off 1
Yeah.
bank robbery.
And if you did, you'd probably say, don't do it again.
Don't do it
because
again.
your chances of getting
This
caught
is
go
it.
up every time you do it.
Right, of course.
But that's not the way
They
you know,
work.
these hardened criminals work.
They're wired into it.
Well,
where
I
it's
think
just-
part of it is too. That it's like, hey, I'm going to get caught. I'm going to go back to prison eventually.
that's
but
crazy.
while I'm
They
out-
just accept that.
Yeah, I'm gonna live life to the fullest while I'm out.
That's insane.
That's so
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, for the most part, the reality is, the guys, unless they pull a gun on you, you can't kill them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, you got to arrest
Yeah.
them and take them to jail. They pull a gun on you, it's different. For the
So,
most part.
do you have any cases that were left unsolved?
Oh, yeah, lots of cases. Oh, yeah. I didn't solve everything. That's for sure.
Is there any of them that like sticks with you that you really wanted to solve that you just
Oh,
couldn't?
yeah. Oh, yeah. There was quite a few of those.
Were they like bank robber specific?
I worked a lot of bank robbery stuff, so that was my assignment for like the first 12 years of my career. So we solved in LA, I want to say, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60-70% of all bank robberies.
Oh wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, we're pretty good at it. And again, we had help from local folks as well as sometimes the marshals would help and all that stuff. So we had a pretty good success record. But eventually, hardly anybody in the FBI works the same thing their whole career. So
Yeah.
they're going to come to you at some point and go, "We want you to do something
They
different."
switch it up. They change
Right,
it.
and it kind of rounds you out. It's good for you to do that stuff. So
So you don't get burnt out and whatnot.
I could have done back robberies my whole career, and I
Yeah.
would have loved it. But that's one of those things. It's just like the boss goes, "You got to do something else."
Mm-hmm.
So I did. Gosh, what did I do next? I think it was Counterintelligence. Is where they put me. And so Counterintelligence is every foreign nation spies on other countries. Okay.
Got to keep tabs.
What now?
To keep tabs and all, you just kind of have to.
So there's lots of reasons for it. One, they want to know the secrets of that country that they don't want anybody else to know.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you find out those secrets are many varied ways, but typically with people. The best way to do it is with people.
Of course.
But you can do it electronically. You can do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But doing electronic surveillance on a foreign embassy, you realize every big city in this country has a Soviet, Russian embassy, Chinese embassy, down the line.
So we have all those in the U.S.
All of them. And they're not in every city. They're in the biggest cities. Like New York has the most of them. Like LA has a ton of them.
Right.
Small cities don't have them. But those folks, most of them, some of those people who are in those positions, all they do is try to uncover secrets that we as the United States federal government don't want revealed to anybody else. There are secrets. We keep them
Of course.
very close to the vest, and those people's job is to figure out what those secrets are and get those secrets. And some of that stuff is like military stuff, like military plans. Like right now, if you've watched the news, you may have seen this. I mean, Trump's putting like a whole, I don't know what they call it, combat regime. There's some term for it. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be the Navy, the Marine Corps, Air Force, and that's probably all. But they're down in the Caribbean trying to stop all these stupid,
Pirates and
They've been blowing them up.
Yeah,
left
pirates.
and right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just that kind of information, or like new ships that we're building. We build ships all the time that are new, or new submarines that we build. Probably 60-70% of a sub we build new is probably classified as top secret material, or no one can know
Like what it's made out of.
what it's made of, what it actually does, how
Because
it
they don't
does
know
it.
the weak points.
Correct. And what most countries do is they want to find out the things that we build and how we build them, so
copy
that
it.
they can then copy it. That's exactly right, and have something that's newer, better. Because a lot of these countries don't have, the same kind of
advancement.
scientific community that we have.
Right.
Who we pay to keep secrets and to build things that make us strong and capable of collecting a lot of intelligence and
Of course.
figuring out what everybody else is doing before they even know we know, if that makes sense. But anyway, so I did a lot of that. A lot of that stuff, especially in LA, you've got embassies of foreign countries all over the place in LA, New York. And we can't go in an embassy unless we're invited, because it's literally foreign territory. You may not
Yeah.
know that. So the Russian embassy in New York, you can't just walk in.
Oh, so they treat it like it's Russian
No,
territory.
it is Russian territory. It's not
Interesting.
U.S. territory. So, like, for example, it happened all the time. We have a Russian who we knew was doing something illegal, and we caught them doing it illegally. And then they run to the embassy, and all we can do is say, well, we have a warrant for them. So if they get on an airplane, use their name, we can arrest them.
Right.
But you can't go in the embassy because the embassy is literally foreign territory.
That is insane.
I know, but they do the same for us. You know, so in
They can't just walk in our embassies.
right. So our embassy in Russia, which I've been to, is a big, gigantic, beautiful place. And of course, you know, I can walk in, show my credentials, and it's not a problem. But Russians can't. You
Right.
know, and a lot of them are. That's where they try to get. What's the word I'm looking for? The documents they need to travel outside the country. You know, so or travel to the U.S. They'd have to go in the U.S. embassy and get, you know, go through a background check and a whole bunch of stuff before they would give them a visa to enter the U.S. Of course, a lot of people do it illegally, but the right way is that's why you have to do it. You have to go to the embassy and they have to approve
Let
that
them
you
run
go
the
to-
background
yeah.
check and all. Okay. So, did you do like a lot of interrogation?
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff?
Oh yeah.
How does the
Lots.
FBI like train y'all to interrogate people, or are you not allowed to say?
It's a continuous training program that you go through for interrogation. So, I'd say the first class you get when you're a new agent, you're going through new agent training, which lasts like 4 months, and that was okay. But for a guy who was a cop beforehand, it's like pretty basic stuff. But you know, they offer these classes throughout your career, and they get more and more advanced. So here's an example. I mean, I assume that you're doing something illegal, whatever it is. Let's say I'm assuming that you're robbing some banks, and I have some reason to believe that. So, you know, when you see, you know, cop movies and stuff, somebody sits down and says, "You robbed so-and-so bank, didn't you?" That's not a good interrogation
Yeah,
technique.
they're not
Yeah,
going to
For
be
the
like,
most
yeah,
part.
of course.
Of course. No one's going to say, "Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
Take me to prison." I mean, so there's lots that goes into interrogations, and it depends on the sophistication of the person who you're trying to interrogate. That's part of it, and then part of it is what you suspect that they did. And so you never do, with the FBI, you never do an interrogation. I don't say never. Hardly ever would you interrogate somebody without you knowing
The
a whole
information already.
hell of a lot about them already.
Because you're going to use that to play mind games on them.
Yeah, and I really wouldn't call it mind games. What it is, so for example, I'm going to come up with an example. Let's say, and this is way kind of off base, let's just assume that you're cheating on your wife and it's a secret and nobody knows. Okay? The reality of carrying that secret around forever becomes significant for most people. Not everybody,
Yeah.
because there are people who are like sociopaths and they can do all sorts of evil
they don't
stuff
even
and
care.
never feel any guilt
Yeah.
about it and don't feel any need to, you know, confess it to somebody because they see themselves as somebody who's better than everybody else. And so for them to use somebody's, now what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody thinks that you're a faithful, honest person. That's good for you if they think that.
Yeah.
But if you know that you're not, you're certainly not going to say, you shouldn't trust me.
Yeah, you should think that about me.
Right.
Yeah.
You shouldn't think that about me. Right. Exactly. Because I'm really a scumbag, and I know
Right.
I'm a scumbag, and I'm okay with that. And for the most part, that takes some psychological, you know, issue. There's something that's going on in your psyche, your head, that's different than everybody else. Because most people can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't just straight out lie to people.
No, yeah. Eventually,
It's hard.
it takes its toll, especially the longer you've been holding
That's
in
exactly
stuff.
right. That's exactly right. So again, doing interrogations can be as simple as sitting down and saying, "Okay, did you rob the bank?" And that's, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad technique, but it's probably not the best technique.
Yeah, because most people are just going, no.
Of course they're going to say that. Because they
Yeah.
know. And again, if you, I never did an interrogation, well, never. I'd say hardly ever did an interrogation where I didn't know the answer to the questions that I was going to ask them,
Yeah.
right?
So did you pull good cop or bad cop?
And so I don't
He was
really,
definitely the bad cop.
Think
I
so?
don't
Just
really
walked in.
think that's, yeah. I've never beat somebody in an interrogation, I'll say that. I certainly wanted to.
Were you allowed to?
No.
But did people ever do it? What are you allowed to say?
Okay, so I certainly never did because the FBI takes a really, really strong.
Yeah.
Approach to that kind of stuff.
That's you're gonna be gone pretty fast. But occasionally I would be like, especially with bank robbers, would be in an interview, and it'd be just me and a detective from some, police department. And to me, interrogations are, you sit down and you say, I mean, so let's say we've arrested you for bank robbery.
Yep.
Okay. So we sit down, and the first thing we're going to do is say, look, we need to talk to you. You don't have to talk to us,
Okay.
but I'm going to show you this form, and I want you to sign it, but you don't have to sign it.
I want a
And this
lawyer.
form says that's exactly what you should do. That's exactly what you do. And when you do that, I'm done.
Really?
Those are the magic words. I'm done.
So, I mean,
If they persist in talking to you, anything you say after that is
Can be held
not
against you.
admissible in court.
so if they say, I want a lawyer,
You're done.
and then they go,
You're done.
They go, hey, I robbed it. I robbed that bank. You cannot use that against
Can't
them.
use it.
Because they said they wanted a lawyer?
Really?
Yes. Once they, again, that's the constitutional rights that we have. Once you say that, I want my lawyer, or whatever, that's it. The interrogation has to stop until they can talk to a lawyer. Now, the lawyer can sit in on the interrogation. I had plenty of lawyers do that, come in and sit down while
Yeah.
I do it. But most of them tell their client, don't answer that question.
I mean, I'm
Don't
pretty,
answer that question.
I'm pretty well educated. I watched a lot of Law and Order, so
Yeah,
you know.
there you go.
Pretty well educated.
But the reality is this: you catch this guy just robbed a bank, and it was sloppy, he was stupid, and people saw him. He's on the camera taking the money, and you sit down and talk to him. The way that I always started it was, hey, I introduce myself, show my credentials, try to generate some conversation that has nothing
Try to be
do.
friendly.
That's correct. It's just, hey, where are you from? Because they're not anticipating that. They're
Yeah,
anticipating you go, why did you rob the bank? Hey, we're gonna beat
Yeah.
your ass if you don't confess the bank. That might work, but most of the time it doesn't work. What works is try to develop rapport with somebody.
So you don't want to scare them. You really just want to get them comfortable.
Yeah, and again, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had yelling, screaming matches at bad guys, but that's not the first thing you do. The first thing you do is you sit down and, and
Try to talk.
offer them a glass of water.
Give them donuts.
There you go. So, hey, tell me about yourself. How, what's going on in your life? Where are you from? That kind of stuff. I think it's a funny story. We had a guy, it was me and another FBI agent, got a call about a bank had been robbed, and the cops had already caught him. And, we typically did all the prosecution stuff. So I go to the bank, get some evidence, I talk to the cops, I write down what they say, and then we go talk to the guy. So me and, what was that guy's name? I can't remember his name. He was a character though. He was a lawyer already, and he was an FBI agent. And
Oh, wow.
he didn't like working. And his wife was filthy rich, and they lived literally in a mansion on the ocean. So his job at the FBI, as an agent, was really just
Just
for
to have
fun.
a job.
Yeah, just for fun.
Just to work.
What a
yeah.
way to live life.
I
I
know,
wish I
right?
could remember his name. He was a really handsome guy. He had a lot. He came from a rich family too, but his wife was loaded.
Yeah.
Gazillionaire. So he and I go in and interview this guy. He was always the guy who'd make you laugh because he never took anything serious.
He didn't care.
He didn't care. It didn't matter to him. He'd get fired. It didn't matter to him. He'd go home. But he enjoyed working. But he enjoyed it, I think, just because, it's one of those things. I really don't care.
Yeah.
I'll run around with a gun and a badge on and do what I want to do. It's, that sounds fun to me. So anyway, he and I go in, and this guy is sitting there handcuffed to the table like this. And he has this enormous divot in his head that's,
Oh, no.
it's like a big dent.
Yeah.
And you can't help
But notice
But look at it.
notice,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
but I'm trying to be Mr. Professional. Hey, your name's Joe Smith here. Okay, Joe, you know, you've been arrested for a bank robbery? Yeah, I know that. And so the conversation's going on pretty good. And my partner, this guy, is just going, looking at the guy, not saying a word. So I can tell it's starting to make me laugh because I know it. And I know it. He's just waiting.
staring.
He's just waiting to say,
What happened to your head?
so finally, he just interrupts. He says, we got to stop talking about the bank. He said, what happened? What happened? Oh my God. He goes, well, I'll tell you. he says, I had decided to kill myself. He said, so I had a revolver. I took it up, I put it to my head, and pushed the barrel up to my head like this, and I started squeezing the trigger. And about the time I knew the hammer was going to fall, I decided, no, and I did this, and it just took my skull off.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Most of us went, what? He tells the story again. We're like, oh, I feel sorry for you now.
Yeah, literally. Jesus.
We'll just let this one go.
Jesus.
Oh
Dude.
my God.
But you know, you just couldn't help yourself. It was like, man, it was a big divot just right there. And it was, I don't know what he said he had a steel plate in there because the skull, part of
You
the
got
skull.
to hold it, everything, yeah.
Ugh.
Jesus.
But there was all kind of crazy stuff like that.
So did you ever have an interrogation where, because I mean, obviously you see this a lot in movies and TV shows, where you might crank the heat up, make it really uncomfortable, take a leg out of the chair that they're sitting in.
Yeah.
Did you ever do anything like that to kind of?
Oh, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's legit.
The only, well, okay.
To an extent.
To be a little careful here. It was a great case. A child was kidnapped.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you already had a lot of
You
emotions
know how,
in this
yeah,
one.
exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. So this kid is 3 years old.
And you had kids at this point?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, this is a father already tied into it. Right.
So this was a big deal, of course.
Of course.
And the kid belonged to. You have a zipper? Look at your zipper. Okay, what does it say on it?
BKE.
Okay, it's different. What does yours say?
I can't read.
Okay, YKK is what most zippers say on them.
Okay.
The person who owns YKK
It was their kid.
is an Asian guy who lives in LA. He's a gazillionaire. I don't know how much money he's got, but he's got
A lot.
he's got a truckload of money.
Yeah, zippers are
And
on every jacket.
he was the only guy making zippers for, I don't know, 20 years or something. And everybody used YKK zippers. Now, he and his wife are out of the house during the day working, and there's a maid at the house and their child who's not even 1 yet. And these scumbags come in and take the kid, tie the woman up, and disappear. So as you might imagine, it's a big case. And, this is one of those cases where they called everybody in. Everybody's going to work this case. We're going to find this kid ASAP and get this guy out. So we did. And we were scouring the streets. Every little bit of lead we got, we'd go run it down, whatever it was. We'd go, if somebody went home, where they work. I mean, we were moving, and we were getting a little aggressive with people who, I don't know, you better damn well know.
Yeah, figure it out.
We know you're connected to them. You know this, that, and the other. So don't give me this I don't know stuff. We're talking about a kid who's less than 1 year old who's been kidnapped.
Yeah.
You know, they don't play. Eventually, after like 2 days of us working pretty much 24 hours a day, we get information that the people who actually kidnapped the kid, they don't have him, but we know who these 3 Asian kids are and where they are. And so as the LA SWAT team, they said, go get them. And that usually means we want you to go get them. Don't just go arrest them, but go get them. So
Use force if
we
necessary.
bust in the door and we, a little blood was spilled. I mean, nobody got shot, but there was a little blood spilled. Little people, people were starting to cry and whine and bitch like they do. They're big tough guys until somebody, shows them that they're not. And so while we're doing this arrest/interrogation, tell us where the kid is or else. One of them says, he's here. He's at this location. And so we snap them all up, put them in the back of our car, fly to place. As we drive up, it's what's the term? It's a housing for poor people. A big facility.
Like a project housing.
And it's multiple buildings, So we pull up and we go in and find the girl who's one of the girlfriends of one of the dickheads we got in the car, who's the one who told us where she was, and literally snatched this child from her, which she had done nothing bad to the child, but still kidnapped.
Yeah,
accessory
kid
after the
less
fact.
than 1 year old. It's ridiculous. So there was a little bit of blood let in that one. It probably could have got several of us in trouble, but we never got in trouble.
I mean,
that one, I get it.
Everybody lived, but
obviously, I would probably register to say that you're probably the only person I know who's ever worked in,
for sure.
stuff like that. But just from, I'll watch Law and Order at midnight, 1 in the morning,
Right.
and when you see stuff, even though it's a TV show,
It'll piss you
I get
off.
that. Like if you see, a kid who's been raped or kidnapped, immediately you just start to think
right.
well, it obviously happens in real life.
It does.
We know it happens.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
I don't think as a person, I don't think I could do it just because, not only is it just horrendous, disgusting, just, whatever you want to call
Self-control
it.
you have to have.
The amount of self-control
Right.
you have to have
Right.
to interrogate someone, ask questions without wanting to just, tear their insides
So how'd
out
that
of them.
interrogation go?
People,
Can't comment.
people, not me.
Not me. First off.
Used
There's
a little
another guy
force,
named
used a
Tim.
little force on people, threatened. If you ever had a pistol held to your head,
Oh, I can imagine. I haven't.
you
but
never had an angry person with a pistol up to your head.
You would spill all your secrets.
It's
That's a scary
Terrifying.
moment. Yeah, of course.
terrifying. And yelling, screaming, cursing,
Mm-hmm.
and explaining that we're here because you kidnapped a fucking infant.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, come on. How low can you be?
Did they ever explain why? Was it just for ransom money?
Yeah, that's all it
Just
was.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
ransom.
So again, the ransom I think was like $1 million.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it wasn't
And-
personally
and
motivated.
This wasn't like just wham bam, thank you, man. This was over like 3 days. So the longer it goes, the more built up anger it gets.
Attention
Yeah.
gets.
And of course we're working nonstop
Yeah.
because it's an important case.
Yeah, no sleep.
And nobody's getting any sleep, so everybody's getting a little, crazy. And
So y'all were
happens.
literally for 3 days working nonstop
Yeah.
for something like that.
Yeah, you couldn't. I mean, nobody wanted to go. They were saying you can go home. If
You
want
wanted to finish
Say,
it.
I'm not going home.
Yeah, and that's how we figured this out. Crack this case.
I'm doing this case till it's solved.
I feel like that's something that TV probably does get when it comes to cops.
Yeah, for sure.
That's right.
The attitude of when you start something, you're going to finish it.
Well, and I think that it's one of those things too. Everybody has a sense of right and wrong, whatever that is. I mean, we all have,
Yeah.
it, right? Messing with somebody's infant child. I'm sorry, you have hit the rock bottom.
Rock bottom.
I
You're-
can't think of anything.
You're a
worse.
horrid human being.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you have had children, I think it's even more.
It resonates
It's more significant. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like
Yeah.
if you come in my house and you can hit me upside the head with a baseball bat if you want to.
But you try
If
to
you
touch
touch
my
my
family.
you touch my infant child,
It's over with.
it's over. That's correct. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine it. Like us, having a 6-month-old at home. I don't even,
I know. There you go.
immediately.
know.
That's where your mind goes.
And again, that's one of those things. God gave us that sense of protection as
Yeah.
fathers. That's the reality.
Well, we're supposed to. I
of it.
mean, the
That's
Bible
what
says you're supposed to protect your
That's
family.
exactly right. That's what we're supposed to do. I'm not going to just sit back and let somebody harm my children.
Right.
I can't think. There's been a couple times in my life where I knew I was at that point where I'm going to hurt somebody, and this is not going to be good.
So, do you think that was the hardest case you've ever worked?
It was one of those that was difficult to work in so many ways because we're dealing with a lot of Asian folks, and some of them didn't speak English, and we knew they had information, but we couldn't get it. It's one of those things that was drove me crazy.
Did y'all have access to like translators and stuff, or?
Yeah, we did, but we didn't have enough. And so we had literally 50, 60 people out on the street doing stuff.
Yeah.
And we're all kind of coming back together, and once in a while, well, I got this guy, but he can't speak English. I can't, I didn't get anything out of him. You guys give me a translator. Let's get a translator and go back.
Could y'all not bring them to the bureau to question them? Or?
See, you can do that, but you've got to have a sufficient amount of evidence to be able to take away their freedom. It's not. You see this all the time, I think, on TV where people are snatched up off the street as if they don't have any rights. You can't.
Where they just take them in for questioning.
Right. You can ask somebody to come in for questioning.
Yeah.
But if you don't have probable cause,
they have the right to say no.
That's right. They can give you the middle finger, and you can grab the finger and bake it, but you're probably going to go to prison for that.
So, with that being said, what are the biggest misconceptions that you think people have about FBI agents, like whether from TV or movies or whatever?
That's a good one. Well, first of all, I think the conception is we're all the same, and that's not true.
Right.
There are plenty of agents who do desk work 100% of the time. And there are plenty of agents who do evidence. We work on evidence. That's all they do. There are agents who work on computers. That's all they do. There are agents, and I did this for only a short period of time in my life. I had to do on computers.
Really?
I couldn't
it
do
was
that.
only like
a
few weeks, and I went into my boss and said, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
I don't care what you say. I'm not doing this anymore.
That's got to be, I think,
That's
probably
awful.
the toughest
It is.
crime to deal
Right.
with.
I
couldn't imagine.
I mean, when you see it the first time, you're so shocked by it.
Yeah.
And then when you sit there and look at the stuff for weeks on end as evidence, and you're putting it into an evidence category, and all that stuff, eventually you just go,
man.
I'm not going to do this.
Well,
I don't want to see it again.
That takes a toll on you, and just,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever see it again, and I'm not going to do it. You can fire me if you want to, but I'm not going to do this job. And the reality was, there were a lot of women who didn't mind doing it. And I don't understand that, but that's what ended up being in our office.
Do you think it's a difference in women are just wired so differently than men?
Yeah, I think
Maybe
so.
it's just they're so.
They can handle it better.
Yeah.
They can handle it better.
Because men are so quick to get
Exactly.
mad and just react.
Every day when I was looking at that stuff, I'm telling you, I sat there.
You just
In
thought
my
about
own mind, I thought, if I could find out the person who actually recorded this,
You'd
I
kill him in a
would
heartbeat.
go
you're not
find
even
them.
going to take them to jail.
That's right. I would go find them.
Because, not to say that, raping anyone else is
But
not as
kids
bad.
are so
but
pure.
children are so innocent
That's what I'm
that
saying,
as
the
soon as
purity
you
of a
see it,
child.
you can't.
And part of it, I think what you might be trying to explain, for me anyway, is look, if somebody didn't like me and they want to hit me in the mouth, yeah, fine, go ahead.
Go for it.
Go for it. That's exactly right. But you better expect I'm going to respond to it.
Right.
Right? When you see this stuff and you see people who are sexually molesting a 2-year-old.
They can't do anything.
Right.
And they
can't
cannot
respond.
protect themselves.
Yes, that's right. And here's the other part of this that I know for a fact. Once that happens to them, how do you think the rest of their life's going to go?
It's changed forever.
Yeah.
Changed forever, and they will probably never
Never get over it.
normal relationships for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the trauma and stuff.
Right. And regardless, you can go see psychiatrists forever. You're still going to carry some significant weight from that for the rest of your life.
Because there's 2 people I know that literally just got arrested for that. One guy, me and him went to school with, and then one guy was a manager of a vape store. It's a huge chain vape store in Mobile, Alabama, Mississippi. And they fired him a couple years ago when I believe it was Homeland Security who got onto him at first. And then it took them about 2 years to build their case, and they just arrested him 2 months ago. And it's just as soon as you see it, you just, because this was a guy that, from the time I was 18 years old up until probably 3 or 4 years ago, I saw him all the time, talked to him, how's your wife doing, blah, 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 blah. And then it's you see this, and you're just
yeah. Your world has just changed.
I feel like it's that case for a lot of people, though. You never expect it.
you never
Of course
expect
not.
it.
But here's something else. You probably don't realize, men who look at kitty porn on the internet, okay, they don't do it by themselves. You know that. They don't do it by themselves. They got to get it from somebody, unless they make it themselves.
That's
And there's not very many of them that do that. But the ones who are sharing it around, you know,
It's a lot more than you think.
it's a lot more than you think. And the thing is, it's so disgusting, but it's extraordinarily prevalent.
That's crazy.
I totally agree. And I worked some of those cases while I was in the FBI. I was never the lead person on the case, but I had to go out and arrest those people. And every single one of them that we ever put our hands on and arrested, they all did the same stuff. As soon as you show up and say FBI, what do you think they did?
Breakdown.
Crying.
Cry.
Bitch.
I didn't mean to do
Yes.
it.
I mean, it's stuff you just want to go.
You deserve what's coming to you. Yeah.
So how
put
much
my hands
time
on
do
it.
the people like that usually get?
It depends. So there's lots of different kinds. They divide this up, as you might imagine, legally.
I feel like it should just be
you
life.
produce it. You produce it. In other words, you're taking people and
You're done for.
yeah.
you're
done.
gone.
Is that
I'm sorry.
life?
Yeah, you're going to prison for the rest of your life.
Awesome.
If you're just
The one sharing it.
right sharing it, you're still probably looking at 20 years.
They should be
Because
more than
they
that.
give you a certain amount of time for every image.
How many of those people?
yeah,
How
that's
many
how
of
they-
those people survive prison?
Well, it's interesting you say that. So the federal prison system is set up in
To
a
where they
way-
separate them, right? Yeah.
So there's a particular prison in North Carolina where only people who do child porn,
That's awful.
they
Why?
all
Put
go
them
to
in
the
with
same-
everybody else.
They put them all in that one prison.
don't like
And
that.
you know why they do it? So
Because-
they don't kill each
yeah.
I'd rather them get put in there with
other. I'm with you.
convicted killers
I'm
and
with
everything
you.
else.
Because I
that's-
mean,
that's what
you,
they do.
you hear it a lot. Like when a child predator goes to jail,
Oh, they'll put it on tenfold.
they're more than likely to get killed within the first week, just because.
Right.
I mean, even if you're dealing with people who have murdered people or even
Most people
or
still
even
have
raped
some
people,
sort
like,
of morals.
Here's an example though. You take the Mobile County Jail, which I've been in many times. You know, as an FBI agent, been in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shithole. Okay. You ever go? It's a shithole.
Luckily, I've never been.
No, you don't want to go. It's a shithole. But most everybody there is there for DUI, or, you know,
Or
beating their
drugs.
wife, or selling drugs, blah blah blah.
something that's a crime, but not.
Right.
Not that we're
Right.
going to look at him and be like,
So,
"You're a horrible human being."
When we
and
would
blah, blah, blah.
we would catch child predators, you know, especially the poor child porn people here in Mobile, we couldn't put them in Mobile County Jail. We'd have to take them somewhere where they
hate
could be
that.
locked up by themselves and be protected.
That's
Which
awful.
again is one of those things. It's like I don't think we should do that.
You don't
Yeah.
want them protected.
But that's what they do.
That's
Well,
crazy.
the kids weren't protected. So, why
So
do they need
you
to be?
were when you moved here, right? You moved here because of the FBI.
Right. So the FBI came to me at some point. It's very common they do this, and they say, you know, we'll let you go wherever you want to go. And so
Pretty much give you a job anywhere.
yeah. I mean, like in the FBI, the vast majority, 60% probably 65%, are agents who do investigations. You know, that's what we do. The other people are managers and people who do nothing more than computer crimes or it's very specific stuff. But the vast majority of us are utilitarian. We can do
Pretty much anything.
anything, but typically it's, you know, you assign me a federal crime case and that's what I work on. Or I'm working on a task force with some other cops or whatever. We do a lot of task force because that just kind of gives you more people to do. So for example, one of the funnest things I ever did was what do they call it? Fugitive task force. So all we did was go out and look for
Hunt
people.
down fugitives.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
bet that was
Yeah,
fun.
Easy, fun, yeah. Kicking in doors,
Yeah.
grabbing people, cuffing them up off the street, throwing them in the car, take them to prison. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you go, I did some good today.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so when the FBI moved you here, so you did some of the like child predator catching here in Mobile.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
'Cause-
but it wasn't. Let me tell you what. Though here it's far different than it is in LA, for example. And I never worked it in LA, but I knew guys who did. I mean, it was everywhere,
Rampant.
everywhere.
Well, it's a very big city, very
Yeah.
populated.
It's right. So you go to the big cities, you know, there's just tons and tons of all kind of crime going on.
Yeah.
And you know, I love my time in the FBI. I enjoyed it very much. I think the FBI does a pretty good job with everything they have to do. But it's like everything else, you know. When I first came in the FBI, the list of crimes that we investigated was like this long.
And when you
When
left,
I left, it was pages and pages and pages.
Yeah.
It's like, and the people we may have increased by 10%. You can't do it all.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't do it all.
But I feel like the stigma fits though, where like, you know, like especially watching something like Law and Order or any cop show really, you'll see something you'll be like, that would never happen here.
But you
Whereas,
never know.
I mean,
It does happen.
obviously, I mean, just in the past few months, I've seen it, but
Yeah.
before I seen those two people arrested, and it was only because I knew them, I would have never in a million years thought there's anybody in the city of Mobile who is watching child porn, distributing it, you know, whatever it may be. Never would have thought it. But then when it happens, you're just like,
Yeah.
what? Why? How? You
Especially
know?
how small our city is. Like, we're not a very populated
exactly. That's my thing. Mobile's not a. I mean, it's a big city, but it's not Los
city.
Angeles or
God,
New York
no.
City
It's not
big.
even Atlanta level.
But-
And I would say too, we're talking about porn or child or whatever you call it, it's probably not made here very much.
But it's distributed
It is,
everywhere.
It is, but
Ugh.
it's the bigger cities where you will find production being done.
That's disgusting.
And this goes back to this whole thing about, for example, illegal immigration. And I'm probably going to offend some people by this. You got people come across the border, we don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know who they are.
Don't know who they are, what they do.
Right. Don't know
what
what they
they've
do,
done.
whatever. You think some people across the border who are child predators who want to
Right.
hunt down children
Absolutely.
and video them engaging in sex acts with adults? Of course they did.
Absolutely.
Of course they did. And you know, here's another thing. I mean, some of these countries where people would come across the border illegally and do stuff like this in the United States where they wouldn't do it. And some other countries who have far stricter laws against that stuff. And some of those countries, for example, Mexico, you get arrested
Castrated.
and you go to a prison, but you go to any prison in Mexico, let me tell you what, you're fighting for your life every day.
Yeah, I believe
Well,
it.
and you know, I've said this before, just between friends and whatnot, and I don't really care what people think, but I don't agree with a lot of what the cartel does in Mexico. The one thing that I do agree with, though, is when they catch people who are child predators and
Oh,
stuff,
they get rid of them.
they castrate them.
They do.
Or they get rid of them.
They get rid of
And, you know,
Yeah.
is that wrong for me to think? Probably. I don't care.
Well, and that brings up a whole different argument about, if you ask me, there's so many laws out there, and I think we have way too many. We should have fewer laws and enforce those laws
Stricter.
the strictest possible.
Yeah.
But the more laws you have,
You can tiptoe around them.
and again, you know, you can't put everybody in prison. Mm-hmm. You don't
Can't
want to
hold-
put
you can only
everybody in
hold so
prison.
many.
Okay, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But the worst of the worst need to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
Well,
Okay.
also, like, prison's supposed to
Absolutely.
be like a rehabilitation thing, right? So what's the point of life? Life in prison. If it's a rehabilitation, like, that's what prison's supposed to be, right?
Well, it's not, but that's
That's what it's supposed to
that's
be.
what it's supposed to be.
So
I
what's
mean,
the point of having
somebody
somebody in
would
there for
tell you
life?
it is. I mean,
Right.
And it depends. I mean, but my experience, in especially federal prisons, is that's not what it is.
Right.
Okay. It's we're taking people off the street so they're not raping your
To
children
keep
and
the
Yeah.
robbing
American
your
people
banks.
I
safe.
would
Yeah,
agree
that's it.
with life in prison for stuff like rape, you know, any child predator, stuff like that, you know, serial killer, mass murder, whatever. The one thing I don't agree with is people who do 10, 12 years in jail because they got pulled over with an ounce of weed on them.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Should they be driving high? No. But, you know, give them 6 months in jail, let them out. I don't think they should be doing 12 years in prison.
Well, why not
because,
just send them to rehab?
or send them to rehab.
Yeah,
What
I think you're right. I mean, to me, we can't just throw everybody in prison.
Right.
Because again, we don't have enough.
Yeah.
And we could build as many prisons as you want to, but still,
you won't have enough.
it goes back
Well,
to
it's
the point
also
what you said.
government funding and
Are you going to fix them from
No.
what their problem
No,
is?
absolutely not.
And
I mean,
I'll be
what's
the
the
first to tell
percentage
you.
of people that actually get fixed?
I would tell you in a heartbeat. I've been to a bunch of prisons in my lifetime from my FBI job, and I don't see any rehabilitation going on. What I
Right.
see is a bunch of bad guys who are just waiting to get out and go do the same
go do
thing.
the same
Right.
thing.
You
Exactly
see it a
right.
lot.
Right.
Which I think I read something the other day. Like they say, people who are repeat offenders is normally like 80%.
Yeah.
Because people who go to jail, they get put with other people who've done what they've done or something close to it, and so it's all they talk about. So as soon as they get out, it's all they
they
can
wanna
think
do.
about.
Right.
and then that's all they go and do.
And let me just bend your ear on this. What if the people who commit the most violent crimes and commit the most evil things, like child porn and child whatever stuff, we should, in my opinion, I mean, there ought to be we ought to lower the level of what is a death penalty case and what isn't.
Yep.
And let me just finish that thought. Why? Because why would we let somebody who's a murderer, who's murdered multiple times, go to prison for 30 years and let him get out?
Correct. Absolutely.
That's nuts to me. I'm sorry. No, once you've committed murder, you're done. Once you've committed, a crime against a child, you're done.
I agree.
There's no getting over that.
There should be no, hey, you've been let out early for good behavior.
Right. No.
Anything,
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, my point is all this. There needs to be more death penalty cases. Now, I will say this: I don't want anybody put to death who's not guilty.
Right, and that's the biggest
Absolutely.
thing.
And we ought to have a better system to prove
Who is
guilt or
guilty and
innocence.
who's not.
That's right.
Yeah.
But once you're proven to be a murderer, a child predator, or
get rid of it.
that's right, you're done.
Yeah.
Not 10 years in prison with my tax money paying for it.
Yeah.
No.
And then you're let
You're not.
out to go back into society and do
That's
what you
right,
want.
and repeat offend, which is what most of them do. Because again, I'll tell you this: you go to prison for 10 years because you robbed a bank. You get out. What are your chances of getting a real job?
How many people have you caught multiple times?
Oh, quite a few. Quite a few.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
exactly.
there's no
though.
doubt
That's
about that.
that's the thing, and I think I can't remember. There's only 2 states, I think, I could be wrong, left in the U.S. that do it, but they do death penalty by firing squad.
You're right.
And
I think it's Utah.
Utah's one of them.
Maybe Nevada.
I think there's one more.
Yeah.
But, and again, I'm not saying I think what the cartel does is great. They're horrible people.
Mm-hmm.
They do horrible things themselves. But the way that they handle crimes against their country,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, that'll
Because-
also show you even horrible people do have morals to an extent.
Exactly. Like,
You're exactly correct. I don't care who you are. You have some sense of morality.
Yeah.
correct.
It's maybe not the same as mine, and maybe not the same as like the Bible speaks of, or whatever. But you do have some.
You
sense
have
of morality.
some sort of morality.
Right. Some way you say this is good and this is evil.
Yeah.
Everybody has that to some degree.
Yeah.
But of course, as we're talking about, people who are, again, child predators, I'm sorry, their view on that is
It's crazy.
crazy. And as a society, we shouldn't put up with it any at all.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
End of story.
Nothing. And
Right.
it was crazy to me. Like, I think this is the craziest thing. To me, the craziest part is not even the fact that they distribute it or that they watch it. It's the fact that most of them, like you said, normally they have a wife or whatever,
Yeah.
and the wife normally knows about it.
Right. Sure they do.
And doesn't.
How can they not know?
I mean, not saying I am, so please, anybody watching, please don't think this. But if I were ever that way, I would expect my wife, being the person that she is, to be like, hey, 911,
Yeah.
my husband's doing some horrible
Right.
things.
Yeah.
To me, they're worse than that person is, because
letting it go.
to
We're
know
letting it
that
go. You're right.
to sit there and know that your significant other or your friend or whatever does it, and you can sit there with a clear conscience at night and go to sleep.
They can't have a clear conscience.
It's
If they have a clear conscience, they don't have a conscience.
it's disgusting. It's,
That's how it goes.
it's just
And
disgusting.
that's right. It's disgusting. And it's one of those things too. I go back to that. I believe there are people out there who do not have a conscience. They do not ever feel guilty
Just
About what
truly
they've
evil.
done.
crap that they
just,
do.
just horrible
Ever.
people. Yeah.
And those people are the ones who should not be in prison. They should be eliminated. We should find those people and get rid of them. That's a hard thing to say, but our whole society would be far better off if we had a way of identifying those people and saying, you're done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I 100% agree. And I think that Alabama as a state, especially being, is, I can't think how to word it, but I think we should do away with lethal injection. I think we should bring back the electric chair,
I'm with you on that.
bring back the guillotine,
I agree with that.
firing squad, whatever
Yeah,
you want,
I agree.
because you hear a lot of like therapists or whatever you want to call them. You hear a lot of them say, well, even if your child was hurt by this person, or if you were hurt by this person, seeing them die is not going to bring you any kind of joy. But I do believe that it brings some kind of closure, because even without being a parent, if you strip away the fact that I have a kid, I think any family that has a kid or whatever it may be, if they see their wife, raped or whatever, to see that person go down, as twisted as it may be, it's a form of closure, knowing that no other family will have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never have to worry about that person getting out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
You can finally sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
I think that should come back to where they can see it happen, because that gives them a sense of relief.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I would say this. Let's just pick the Bible as the specific example. I mean, the Bible does have death penalties for quite a few cases.
Yeah.
And I think we as a society would be far better off if we followed that as far as who gets put to death and who doesn't. But that to me is one of the answers, is to, to have death penalty cases that I think mimic what the scriptures say. And again, there's no appeal. There's no getting off of it.
Yeah.
It's simply, it's done.
It's done. It's over with.
Right. And again, a lot of the rest of the world, there's a lot of countries that do that. They don't hold you in prison for 10 years before they execute you.
They put
It's
you
done.
out.
That's right.
And
you get your day in court, and then if you're found guilty, you might as well say your prayers, because it's over.
It's over with.
Right.
And let's be honest, because I feel like there are, me and him, we do a Bible study every Wednesday. We go to church and whatnot. But I feel like there are a lot of Christians who think like, oh, the death penalty is wrong. But I mean, let's be honest here. If because the Bible says that God is the ultimate judge, right?
Sure.
And if God is the judge, we know how wrathful he can be. How do you think he would feel?
Right.
Right? Because if we're all God's children,
Right.
and he loves each and every one of us the same,
Right.
it doesn't matter if you're a 40-year-old woman who's been assaulted. It doesn't matter if you're a 4-year-old kid who's been kidnapped or assaulted. His wrath it's over with.
Right.
You're done.
Right.
It's just end of discussion. And I think that should kind of carry over into our life. I don't think there should be, again, people in prison for, they were riding around with an ounce of weed. Could they have killed someone? Absolutely. Should they do some jail time? For sure. Should they spend the rest of their life in prison? No.
Oh, of course.
But murderers, rapists, child predators, even with like white collar crimes like we talked about earlier, do they deserve jail time? Yes. Do they deserve to spend their life in prison? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to focus more on violent crimes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Get them off the street. And I know it'll never end. We will always have, you can't have good without evil. Can't have evil without good. We'll always have violent people. But at least you'll start to put a dent in it if you stop letting these people out.
Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I think we need a better system than what we have. And the system that we have is, at one point, was probably pretty good, because there was fewer laws and there were more exacting. And then over time, legislators get together and create new laws and create new laws and create new laws. It becomes confusing. People don't
Too many
understand.
loopholes.
That's exactly right. It's one of those things. Go back to the scriptures.
Literally.
Pretty simple. Okay?
You do this, you die.
Exactly.
Over and done with.
So let's go to a brighter note. Because I've been wanting to ask this. Did you ever have to go undercover?
I did. I mean, no. I never. Let me say this. So, in order in the FBI to go undercover, you have to go to there's a school for that.
Okay.
So really? So there's like a whole.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So you've got to go to the school. You go through a lot of training for that, and then once you've been approved for it, you can do that. So let me say this too. I had one of my best friends in the FBI, and I won't mention his name.
Right.
Was let me say he was an undercover agent, and he did it for a while. He did it for a while in one of our major cities in the country, not LA. And after he finished that case, they mandated that he go to the other side of the country. That's how I got to know him, because he came to LA. But he worked, in an area you know very well, and people wanted to kill him because he ended up testifying against a bunch of them, and they went to prison. And it was the mob, of course.
So it's not always the clean getaway that like movies and TV shows show, where
it's rarely that, and it's all. I think it's It's always a lot more complicated than what you see on TV. But so he, that's what they did to help him, not be found and killed by a group of people who are pretty well organized and do nothing but criminal stuff. That's he did. He came to LA and I worked with him for years. We worked together on a lot of cases. Sat next to each other at the office for years. We became really good friends. Mm-hmm. But he had to look over his shoulder for the rest of his life.
That's awful,
yeah.
No matter what.
And that's a horrible feeling.
It is. It's a horrible feeling.
Always on the edge.
Yeah, exactly. And, great guy. You'd love him. If you got to meet him, you'd love the guy. He's just very much a normal guy. Mm-hmm. But for the rest of his life, the work he did, he's got to be very careful about who he talks to and
who he shares what information with. Exactly right. And
yeah. And so that's one of those things. I could never get to that point. I'm happy to go out and do what I got to do, arrest bad guys, if I have to, risk my life, great, whatever. I don't have a problem with it. But I don't want to have to go for the rest of my life looking over my shoulder.
Worrying about someone's
where
going to kill you.
going to walk up and say, hey, so-and-so, I haven't seen you in 20 years and put 3 bullets in your chest.
Yeah.
And you got almost no chance of surviving. But that happens. I mean, nobody in the FBI is forced to do undercover. But once you volunteer for it, and they use you, trust me, your life has changed drastically.
Because they're going to use you forever.
Well, and I will say that for him, he only did that one case.
Oh, really?
It was years. It was several years it took for him to get in and to get where people trusted him and all that stuff. And then he had to stay in New York and testify against everybody in court.
So they'd seen him.
Huh?
So they'd seen his
face. They know who he is.
So that's why they moved him across the country.
That's why they sent him to LA, right? To supposedly keep him protected to some degree from that. But, there's not like somebody following him around from the FBI protecting him all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
so he's on his own at that
yeah.
point, yeah.
Yeah, you're on your own.
And I'm assuming he probably had a family. And,
oh, yeah, sure did.
Which is, to me, that's even worse.
Yeah.
If you're by yourself, like, whatever. But when you've got a wife and kids that could also be caught in the crossfire because of something you've done 10 years ago.
Yep.
It's great to think about, like, I could be an undercover agent. I can do it.
But it's cool, but
then when you think about it.
The consequences.
I know I couldn't do it, because here's my problem with it. I'm not a good liar.
Yeah,
I never have been a good liar. I'm not a good
issue.
liar. That's what I'm one of those folks, if I tell a lie, I start going, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Same.
My face gets red.
Yeah.
Start thinking
falling apart.
Right, start falling apart. It's like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. But he could do it, and it was like
nothing.
Yeah, nothing to him. And he it's funny because, we would be careful what I say here. He was the kind of guy, we'd be out somewhere and he'd say, watch this. And he'd do exactly what he wanted to do, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it again.
He would start laying it down, and these women would eat it up. I'm not that guy. I just can't do that.
Yep.
So, just because you've been around undercover people, you see it in a lot of shows, like, especially people who are undercover, they lie about what they do, blah, blah. Is there any truth to that? Like, to the fact of, like, just say you're out in a bar with that guy trying to pick up women, and he might say, oh, I'm an airline pilot.
He did that. He did that stuff all the time with me by him.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there going,
Oh,
holy mackerel!
Yeah.
That's some significant BS, and they're eating it up. I just go. I mean, he was really one of my best friends ever. But there were times we'd go out, and I'd say, I can't do this. I can't do it because he's a handsome guy.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, he didn't have a single problem with walking up to any woman and start a conversation, and they'd be eating out of his hands in the first few minutes. And he had no problem,
lying about it.
Well, and enjoying his time with them. And then he'd disappear, and then
That's how it goes.
No phone number, no name, no correct name.
God.
I mean, it was one of those things like, dude, that's impressive and
It's
sad.
scary
and
at the
sad
same
at the same time to me. It's like, wow. Because there's no way I can do it.
I couldn't do
It's
it.
impossible. I can't. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a horrible liar. I can't do it. And he was like, it was like gold coming out of his mouth, and I'd sit there and go, what the?
To the point where you'd almost believe it.
Well,
Yeah,
I'd be sitting there going, I know your life, and none of that's even remotely true. It's crazy.
Yeah, that takes talent.
It does.
It takes some. I mean, to me, it's like you've got to have something that's not quite right with you.
Yeah, I agree.
To be able to do that.
I agree.
And he was so good at it. Again, it was like, it scared me. It was like a lot of times, we were friends. We did a lot of stuff, worked out together a lot, and did all sorts of stuff. But man, some of the stuff he did, I was just go, what?
Yeah.
Because he'd tell me about it later too.
Yeah.
Like, well, I got that woman. We went to her house. Blah blah blah. She had 2 or 3 kids there. Blah blah blah. He'd start going like, I said, dude, don't tell me that. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
That's too much.
He's over there stealing their juice boxes and
I
snacks
know.
and
Stuff
what.
like I'm
It's
going,
crazy.
what? How do you? Whatever. Not me. Sorry, can't do that.
All right, so I'm gonna take you back away from the FBI stuff. Let's go back to let's start with something like this.
Okay.
You gotta watch these movies before you die. What are they?
Good. Those are good. I'm a real nut for watching movies over and over and over.
Comfort
again.
films.
Yep. What you got? What you got for me?
No Country for Old Men maybe is one of the best movies ever
Okay.
made.
Wow, that's
I
a good
watch
one.
it
I'm writing these
all
down,
the
by the way.
time. I'm sorry?
I'm writing these down.
Okay.
No Country for
No
Old
Country
Men
for Old
is.
Men is one of my top movies.
They
of
say it's the
all
best
time.
depiction of a true psychopath.
I totally agree. I believe that I have had interactions with sociopaths, and Anton, whatever his name is, the guy who plays that part,
Yeah.
killer, right on the money.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the there's a lot in that movie that's really sad.
Oh
right?
yeah.
A lot of sadness, a lot of evil perpetrated on each other.
Yep.
But Anton plays the best sociopath I think I've ever seen anybody play in a movie. When you know he's not.
Okay.
I mean, it's just an amazing movie. So that's one of my top movies. I watch it all the time. From the standpoint of there's some real life in this. There
Yeah.
are people out there
Oh, yeah.
Who are like that? Yeah.
And you do not want to engage with those people. You don't want to have anything to do with those people. Those people are capable of significant evil crap. And they have no problem with it. And that ain't the rest of us. The rest of us can't do that.
Right.
It's amazing.
All right. What else?
That's a good question. So, other great movies that I really, really like. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, we'll just go to 3. Nothing too crazy.
Okay.
2 more.
I'm trying to think. The Equalizer is one of my
Oh,
best
yeah, that's
movies.
a good one.
With Denzel, the first
Yeah,
one.
The first one.
It's perfect.
Yeah, that's a great one.
And that is the exact opposite of the
Yeah.
first one.
Yep.
Because, he's a guy who's quite capable of bringing hell and fire and damnation on
course.
your head,
Yep.
but he only does it when he's pushed to the point and the people deserve it.
Yep.
So there's some sense of biblical,
Proportion there.
like right and wrong.
The balance of it.
But yeah, that's right. Because again, I think that's really clear from my perspective of what the scriptures say, and that is, we should live in peace with people and love each other. But when evil comes knocking on your door,
Shut it
you
down.
better damn well be prepared.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you are not going to survive by saying, "Oh, you're a nice guy. I really like you. Don't hurt me."
Yep.
That doesn't work.
Yep.
Yeah. So all right, that's 2.
You gotta have a balance.
Let me
Third and
think.
final.
Yeah, let me think of it. Let me think a little bit more for this one. It's one of these I watch. There's a bunch of movies that I watch over and over and over again because I really like.
Oh yeah.
I really like the stories in those movies.
I've probably seen Scarface 1,000 times.
Scarface is a good one. Scarface is not. I mean, I've watched it several times, but it's not. There's parts of that movie that also bother me to a degree, but I can understand. The movie and the making of it and stuff. So don't get me wrong, but not one of my favorites.
I'm hurt.
I'm sorry. Okay. Probably the Kevin Costner baseball movie. What's it called?
Oh, Angels in the Outfield?
No. Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
One of my top movies.
That is, it's really feel good.
It is.
You can watch it when you're happy. You can watch it when you're sad. It'll make you feel better. Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
I like the fact that movie though has, I mean, the character he plays is great. And then what's the heavyset black guy's name who's in that movie with him? I can't think of his name.
Man, I just
He's
watched
passed
it a
away
couple
now.
weeks ago.
The relationship he has with that guy is interesting. And again, I love baseball. Always loved baseball. And to me, it's one of the best sports there is in a lot of ways. Partly because, again, I don't dislike football or boxing and all that stuff, but I don't like tons of violence. Don't get me wrong. I've been violent.
Yeah.
I've killed people. Okay, so don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I don't like violence. I don't like to see violence put on somebody else. And I love these movies where there's a great deal of
Love and just
peace and compassion and
Yeah.
caring for each other. Those movies make me want to do better.
Yeah, I love
do
that.
work.
Absolutely.
That's three very different movies that
Yeah.
are all very good answers.
Yes.
Plus, baseball is just, I mean, I just got into baseball. Let's see, what year went to it? About 4 years ago.
Oh,
And it has been, I love it. Like,
I
I
do
live
too.
for it now.
yeah.
If you would have asked me 5 years ago, like, hey, what do you think about baseball? I'd be like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever watched in my life. It sucks. It's awful. Don't ever play it in front of me. And then, believe it or not, and this is why I don't agree with people saying video games are not a good hobby, because it took two people to convince me to buy a baseball video game, which I've never played in my life. And immediately I was like, I played 6-7 hours a day. Just, I couldn't get off of it. And then I got hooked on actual baseball. And now it's like, last year I went to my first ever baseball game,
Oh, good.
which he went with me.
Oh,
and
good.
it was
fun. It was a great time.
it was a blast. We literally sat, I mean,
Dude.
the dugout was here and we were here.
Yeah.
I mean, I was yelling at players the whole game. We were directly behind the third baseline. It was my favorite team, the Giants versus the Braves. It was wonderful. And so now it's like, we're going again next year.
Oh, good.
And then we'll probably go the next year.
Yeah.
And the next. To me, baseball is just like, and again, you watch all this stuff online, like, oh, you got to have a corn dog from a ball field. So when we went, we had a beer, we had a hot dog, like
Crazy hot dogs.
it was that experience
Yeah, the
alone in and of
experience.
itself
It
was
was the whole
like
experience.
dude.
having
Live
someone
is
come up to you
awesome.
being
Yeah,
like
I
hot
agree.
dog, and you buy a hot dog, then you buy a beer, and you're just like, this is fantastic.
Yep.
Everybody's screaming. Someone just hit a nuke out of the park, and you're just like,
That's probably the to me though, the best part about being at a baseball game is when they connect and within a half a second of
Yeah.
that ball
Look,
leaving the
it's
bat,
gone.
That's gone.
Yeah.
and luckily
And
for
you're
us,
like the first one up. Yeah, that's gone. That's
Yeah.
gone.
luckily for us, I mean, I think there was like 6 or 7 home runs that game. So
Yeah.
like
It was a good
every
game.
other inning, we were like, oh my God. And then, luckily for me, my mom is a big Braves fan, like to the point where I can't remember what the stadium was called before Truist Park.
Oh,
Turner Field?
Turner Field. Well, no, that's two ago. Turner
Yeah, that's
Field's
2 ago. It was after Turner Field.
Right.
But before Truist Park. My
Right.
mom, huge Chipper. I just did the Donald Trump thing there. Huge Chipper Jones fan. Like, hey, I bought her, so I didn't buy her. A boss of mine, this is, make a long story short. I was building furniture for a long time. And we went to his house one day. We're putting stuff up, and I see this baseball bat laying on the shelf. I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. Who's it signed by? And I go to looking at it, and it's signed by Chipper Jones
Oh,
the
my
year he won MVP. And I'm
Oh my
like,
goodness. This is like 93, I think?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to have it. I don't
Yeah.
care what it costs. I have to have it. And for some odd reason, my parents, my cousin had just bought this, like, I would call it like a greeting table. It's almost like one of those tables where you walk in your foyer straight through the front door, and it was like where you throw your mail
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
But it was beautiful. It was, ornate, really good looking. And he goes, I'll tell you what, you give me that table, you can have the bat.
What?
So I call my mom, I'm like, hey, I can't tell you why. I need the table. She's like, good, we want to get rid of it anyways. I'm like, this is great. I go over, I
be
pick
mad.
table up, take it to him. He's like, here you go. So for Christmas, I give her the bat. She's like boo-hooing. I'm like, at the time I wasn't really a huge baseball fan. So I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But going back, I want to say this is probably like 95, 96 maybe. My mom and her best friend, who I would consider an aunt, went to a game at whatever that park was called.
Yeah.
And at some point, my mother got onto the field. It was thrown out of the baseball game. Because, and I'm telling you, she will say this in front of my dad. If Chipper Jones ever walked through our front door,
She's going to grab him.
we would no longer have a family. She would leave immediately.
That's insane.
And so when we went to our first baseball game at Truist Park, and it was me, him, and our wives, my mom and dad,
Yep.
it was insane because, you know, at the time, which I think he still is, Chipper Jones was the hitting coach. So, like, she knew he was there somewhere. So the whole time, you know, we're enjoying the ball game, drinking, eating, whatever, and she's just like,
Where is he?
she's on the prowl. And, it, you know, and I think that speaks to what baseball is, though, because, like, my mom is not, she hates sports, can't stand them.
Yeah.
But, my God, if my life would not be ruined if Chipper Jones walked through the front door. And for whatever reason in the 90s, she could not get enough of baseball. And now it's like, I'm like, hey, you should really watch baseball. Like, it's great. You know, back when they had Freddie Freeman, I was like, Freddie's kind of the new Chipper.
Yeah.
He's handsome. He's good. She was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. And, like, she has anything Chipper Jones you can think of. She's got a toothbrush. She's got, and it's all in a box in her attic. But, like, she has a framed photo that's signed by the team. And it's got, you know, like all this other crap on it. She's got rookie cards. I'm like, hey, this stuff's worth good money. You could sell it. And she's like, no,
No way.
not a chance.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? She's like, I love Chipper. And I'm like, he doesn't even know who you are.
That's right. He doesn't.
But, you know, and me and him, I mean, he's not really a sports guy.
No,
I'm kind of into baseball now, but we had the best time.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Watching baseball. Like, just being around other people who are screaming and cheering and eating hot dogs or drinking beer. And by the way, I don't know if you've been to Truist. They got some beer there that'll knock your socks off.
I've heard it's
I've
awesome.
never
It's a
been
great
there.
park.
Yeah, I went to the old one, the
Yeah.
first one, Turner, and I went to the next one, but I've never been to Truist.
Truist Park is, and the way it's laid out is pretty good too.
I liked it more than the Astro Stadium, to be honest.
Yeah, so he went and watched the Houston game. But where we sat, also, like, it came with we had like free ice. There was like a
Free popcorn.
There was a place up underneath you could go. You get free popcorn, free ice cream.
You had a bar under there. You can get
Yeah,
drinks and stuff.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I've seen that before. Yeah, I've been to Dodger Stadium several times.
Oh,
That's worth going.
I hate the Dodgers, but
know.
I would love to
Gotta
go.
go to the stadium though. 'Cause
Their stadium's beautiful
It is. It's been there for a long time.
because it's like right there in the heart of LA, and it's
Actually,
massive.
it's in a big park. I don't know if you know that. It's one of the biggest parks in LA.
Really?
The
It's part of a
stadium-
park?
Part of a park.
I
Yeah.
didn't know. It's cool.
So yeah, it's a great place.
See, I want to go to San Francisco. You know, I mean, especially with their ball field being on the water, like immediately,
that'd
that's
be
cool.
Yeah,
But the only thing about San Francisco is, if you've never been, it's cold. All the freaking time.
Really?
Oh yeah, you'll be amazed. There's no such thing as hot weather in
Oh,
San
wow.
Francisco.
And I heard it's
That's the
also a
opposite of
dump.
here.
Yeah, it's just a total opposite here. And San Francisco is a pretty place, but I will say this: I went there a couple times in the FBI. I had to go up there for a couple of cases that I had that were being tried up there, and you'd be amazed. It's a really pretty city in a lot of ways, but even back in the '90s when I'd go, homeless people everywhere.
I believe it.
Shitting on the streets.
That's what people
Nobody
have told
cleans it
me.
up. I mean, it's one of those things. It's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen, except for
The homeless people.
It's just ridiculous.
That's what, like, even when I talked to my dad about it, because I was like, you know, one day I want to go to San Francisco, watch a ball game there,
Yeah.
you know, spend some time there or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's a dump.
Yeah.
Like,
It
you
is,
know, it's
it is.
beautiful.
It really is. I'm going to tell you, it's beautiful. I mean, like when you can, when there's no fog, and you can stand on the streets, right in San Francisco, and look and see the bridge. It's one of the most beautiful sights you'll ever see, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you know that whole story about building that bridge, which a lot of people died building that bridge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Building the Golden Gate Bridge?
Yeah, the Golden Gate Bridge, because Alcatraz is in the middle of the bay,
Yeah.
and they talked about no one ever escaped Alcatraz
Which
alive.
there's, you know,
Right, I know. But the reality is, you get in that water. That water's like 48 degrees.
Yeah.
You better
You
you better be swimming fast.
Yeah.
Because your body temperature is going to go way down real fast.
You're gonna quit moving.
And they say there's sharks all over the place, and the currents are tremendously difficult to swim in.
Yeah.
But people do it, and they do have like swimming exhibitions and stuff where people do swim it.
Yeah.
But they've got to have somebody close by to keep the daggum sharks from eating them. That's the thing, you don't realize the Pacific Ocean, ginormous as it is.
Is that what ties right into San Francisco right there?
Yeah, the Pacific Ocean. And, the Pacific's just ginormous, and it's all cold.
Yeah.
You don't realize it's nothing like getting in the bay here.
Yeah.
I mean, the water temperature's like 50-something degrees.
Yeah,
God.
it's cold.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Is that all year round?
Yeah, all year round. And it's partly because of the currents. So,
It's keeping the water cold.
yeah, the currents are constantly coming and going through there. And the way the currents work is they come like down, from Washington into there, then back out. And even when you're in LA, we go to the beach. We go to the beach all the time. The water's never warm. Now,
Really?
It's not cold, but it's never warm.
It's always chilly when you
So
get in there.
yeah, so you like, for example, I had lots of buddies in the FBI who surfed, and they all wore you had to wear a wetsuit.
Right.
I mean, you don't jump on your surfboard and jump out in the water and stay for any length of time without a wetsuit,
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
I would have never thought that.
Everything along the Pacific is that way. It's just cold water.
I would have never thought that,
Yeah.
especially being in California.
Right, you think it's really warm. And again, it's funny, California, it never gets hot. I think the hottest it ever got, and I was there for 16 years, whatever, I was there for a long time. I don't think we ever had a day where it was like more than 90.
That's
And
probably
if it's
why so many people
90,
go there.
you still have, here's the other thing, because the water's so cold, the air comes over the water and
That
then
breeze.
comes
So you
get a
inland,
cool breeze.
and it's a cool breeze all the time.
That's awesome.
So it never got above 90, and when it was 90,
It didn't
you,
feel like
you still
90.
felt great.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was when the sun went down, it doesn't matter where you're at. The sun goes down, it's going to get down around 60, maybe even in the 50s.
God, how
That's
great
insane.
that
So
would be.
I never ran my air conditioner, never,
Yeah.
ever. I had an air conditioner,
That's
and
why so many people
never
live
turned
there.
it on
Yeah.
once.
It's perfect weather.
Yeah,
How great that would
and
be.
you never turned your heater on. I mean, some
Because it
people
was
did.
a perfect balance.
Right, and again, I love getting in the bed where it's like 50 degrees
Me
outside.
too.
You put up the covers. It's like, oh, I feel nice and warm.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's California weather. It's great.
So taking you back to the equalizer you were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
protecting your family and whatnot. What's your everyday carry, like your go-to?
Yeah, I have a Sig Sauer. Hang on a minute.
P365.
I know it ain't P320.
It may be what it is. That may be right.
Okay.
It's a really small 9mm.
Yeah, I think that's the 365.
Yeah, that's what I carry all the time. It's basically palm size.
Yeah.
It's only got, I think, 7 rounds in the.
Yeah,
Magazine,
9 usually
one in
enough.
the
But for a
chain.
trained gentleman like yourself, that's all you need.
But and again, to me, the whole deal about carrying all the time, when I was in the FBI, I carried pretty much a 45 my whole career, which is a big gun.
Yeah,
You
that's
got-
kind of heavy.
you got a
More.
gun over here, you got
Yeah.
magazines over here, and you got a badge and all that stuff. And that's fine, but I don't have to have that
No, of
amount
course.
of stuff. And again, having been in shootings and all that stuff before, I feel really comfortable just carrying that little 9.
Yeah.
It works for me. It'd be great to carry something heavier,
Yeah.
but it's just too much of a hassle.
All right. Do you believe that destiny is real, or do you believe that we choose our own path?
No, great question. So yeah, there's a mixture of that. I don't think there's an either or. Okay, I think we make, to some degree, we make our futures. Okay, we do, but I believe in the sovereignty of God. So let me explain what I mean by that. So I might choose to do something. I don't know what it is. Join the FBI. And it doesn't matter what my choice is, because the reality is, in my opinion, God is sovereign and all things are his will or not.
Yep.
So we have to make choices not knowing specifically what God's will is for us.
What the outcome's going to be, or
And the outcome is going to be what it's going to be. and I have some capacity to influence that, but most people, I think they have 100% capacity.
no, you're following that
And
path.
that's exactly right. You really don't. And so my perspective of who God is and how he works through us is partly that. We make choices, and yet God is sovereign over everything. Those two things seem to be at odds, but they're not.
Yep.
They work together.
That's
And
crazy. That's
there's a lot
exactly
of-
how I answered it.
Yeah.
I think a
the
lot of
same
people
exact
don't agree
What
with
we
that.
answer.
talked about a week ago.
I had that exact same
I think there's a
answer.
lot of people don't agree with that. They would say that's God's never in control of stuff or whatever. But the reality is that's not only my view, that's my experience in life.
Awesome.
And my experience, has made my view what it is and cemented it for me
Yeah.
as a 64-year-old guy who's, done a lot of stuff. So,
All right.
That's good.
yeah.
Do you believe that money buys happiness?
Money never buys happiness. Money, in my opinion, the more money you have, the less happy you'll be.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I will say this. Let me just say this. Having money gives you choices.
That can make you happy.
Make it life
Maybe.
easier.
Maybe. That's one of those things. Choices that we make sometimes are really good choices, and sometimes we think they're good choices,
Turns out they're not.
but they bring bad consequences.
Yes.
Yep.
So I go back to some degree to the God is sovereign over everything, and I am going to make choices in my life. Sometimes I know I'm making a bad choice, and I
Yeah.
do it anyway.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are consequences for that. Sometimes there's not. But that's reality. That's just reality. From my perspective, that's reality. And every day I thank God for everything he does for me, and he protects me from my own idiocy.
Yeah.
Thank God he does.
I feel that.
Yeah.
All right. What do you believe makes someone wise?
Well, I think wisdom only comes through living and being able to understand the things that you do that are both very beneficial and good, and the things that you do that are also evil and bring people problems.
It all comes from experience.
Well, I agree with that, and it's one of those things. It takes, I think, for most of us, it takes a lifetime of experiences to understand the consequences of our actions.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
And maybe we never fully understand all of that, and maybe we never will until we are dead and in heaven, and we'll understand those things better. But you can have the best intentions in the world and still do evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time.
That's true.
I mean, the reality of that is, unfortunately, we see that in government a lot. We see it, but it's also in all of our lives. And yeah,
Well, I've even heard a quote where people say Hitler believed he was doing the right thing.
of course he did. Of course he did. And I mean, you can name
You can name
lot of
probably a
people.
couple people that thought they were doing the right
that's
thing.
exactly right. Who knows what motivates people to do sometimes the most wicked things in the world? I don't really want to know.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, there's a part of me that's like, I don't want to understand their psyche and how they came to that conclusion, because how could you not know that you're doing wickedness and evil toward people?
Yeah.
Like,
All right.
drives me crazy.
This is a fun one, and I'm curious to hear your answer. And hopefully I get that's classified answer. Aliens, real or fake?
Aliens, that's a great question. Let me say, I think that's a very good question, and I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. I was hoping I'd get that's classified, because then I'm like, whoa.
I'm not giving you anything I learned from the FBI, because again, I think this is one of those things where, is it likely that there's life outside of us
100%.
in the universe?
Absolutely.
I
Gotta
say
be.
it's got to be close to 100%.
Yep.
Have they visited Earth? Probably. It's probably true. But we don't know that. And I don't think the government knows that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a UFO in a
Big flying
big
saucer.
thing out
Yeah, I don't
in
believe it'd be
in
something like
Nevada.
that
I don't
either. Yeah.
believe that. And there's a part of that. What difference does it make?
True.
It's
Yeah.
part of this. What difference does it make? It doesn't
Doesn't
really
change
impact my
anything.
life
Yeah, it doesn't.
whether or not there's aliens out there or not.
As long as they don't kidnap me.
All right. This is a fun one. Time travel. What year are you visiting first?
What year? What now?
Someone gives you the gift of time travel.
Yeah.
What year are you going to go visit?
Gosh, I don't think I would go backwards.
Really?
Yeah, I'd rather go to the future.
Really? What
Okay.
year would you want to go to in the future? How far?
I would like to be. I'd like to live. That's an interesting question. Let me think about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know where I'm going to be 10 years from now.
You want to know?
I want to know.
I feel like I don't want to know the future.
I do want to know, and I want you to. The reason why I want to know where I'll be 10 years from now is because I would hope that I'd have the opportunity to look backwards and realize how to make it.
How to make it better.
Exactly.
I get you.
Not
Yeah.
screw it up.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. Because I think
what
when
I
he asked me that, I was like, I'll go back to the 80s,
I said
man.
the 50s. Yeah, I want to go check out the 50s and the 20s.
Every time period. So I was born in '61.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a fantastic time growing up.
Oh, I bet.
Very little sorrow, sadness.
You lived through the heyday of like everything. Good
Yeah.
cars,
You're right.
good
You're right.
music.
You're right.
You just-
Right. But see, there's a sense, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but the reality is, I think it takes you a little bit of time living to look back
And
Yeah.
realize.
what you had.
Yep. I agree.
And we're all, to some degree, blind to the wonderful things that we have, and the wonderful people in our lives, and the blessings that God bestows on us
Yes.
before we even know they're bestowed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of that stuff, and it takes some time living to be able to look back and go, wow,
I had it great.
that was great.
Yeah.
And I never anticipated it to be that way.
Yep.
And it's hard for me to explain how that happened. I didn't make it happen,
Yeah.
but somehow God's just been good to me. Lord knows He shouldn't be. But I'm like, okay, thank you.
All right.
Take it.
I got two more final ones. So how do you address living with purpose instead of just drifting along?
It's a great question. Great question. You have to live with purpose, or else you're going to meander and be lost for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So there has to be some purpose, and whoa,
You good, buddy?
yeah, he just had to change places. You, of course, your purpose comes from, knowing God, pursuing God your life. None of us do it perfectly. None of us will ever do it perfectly.
Correct.
But that's the reason for living your life, is pursuing what you know to be the ultimate, which is God. And that should be all of our purposes, no matter who we are, what stage of life we're in, whether you're a year old or 101 years old. And that's my view. We all should be striving for that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's good.
So it's my final one. Take it out on it. Kind of ties in with it. Finding happiness in the simple things.
Oh, that's another great one, I think. To me, I think we all spend our lives, thinking that the giant house is going to make me happy,
Yeah,
more
wanting
income
more.
is going to make me happy, greater clothes, a faster car. None of that brings you happiness.
Yeah. Because you're always going to want
Yeah.
more. That's just human nature.
That's part of it. Part of it is you're never going to be fulfilled.
Yep.
But the other part of that, in my opinion, is enjoy your life where you are right now.
Yep.
Because, this gets important, it might get a little crazy. Enjoy your life where you are right now because it's already passed.
No, he's right. He's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
already gone. So you've got to find fulfillment in the moment that you're in,
Yep.
because in a moment it's gone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's good.
You gotta quit trying to find something better. Realize, live in the moment that you're on, because it's the only moment you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody promises you a minute from now.
Exactly. Nobody
That's
promises
good.
you tomorrow. Or,
So don't give it up.
right.
Never give it up. Enjoy it.
Okay. So to take us out, I've got to jump into present time, because we've talked about your past and all these other questions.
Hey, Bubba.
Turkey.
Oh, he's wet.
So I'm
wet.
sure being the person that you are, because I know he knows about it, and if we know about it, I know you know about it. You know that the Louvre was robbed recently.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? As far as, so let's just take a step into, like, you're in the FBI still.
Yeah.
You're tracking robbers or whatever, and they say, hey, the Louvre's robbed. You're the head of it. Immediately, what are your thoughts on it? Because the fact that they did it in broad daylight's crazy.
Yeah.
While they were open, I believe, is insane. And they were out, and I think they said like 7.5 minutes. Where does your mind kind of immediately go?
Well, again, it's greed, driven by greed.
Yeah.
There's no other explanation for it. And yet, what the persons who stole this, are probably going to sell it, and they're going to probably make some money off of it. But they're going to be caught. That's the thing. You can't.
You think so?
You can't take the Mona
So let's
Lisa and not know it's the real Mona Lisa.
So did they take the Mona Lisa?
I don't know.
I had a notification
Yeah.
that said they did, and I couldn't,
Actually,
there was
I'm-
nothing that
Yeah,
said
I'm
whether or not
just
they
picking
did.
one. I mean, you realize there are art experts all over the world, and they would know immediately whether or not you've got the real one or whether or not you've got
Yeah,
one that's
people who specialize in these
That's
kind
correct.
of things.
And to me, it's the dumbest thing in the world to steal a one
Priceless artifacts.
Item. I know.
Yeah.
What are you doing? If you want to steal, go steal money.
So-
money for the most part can't be tracked most of the time. It's just cash. You know what I'm saying? Unless somebody
Right.
has the serial numbers of those bills, I mean, it can't be tracked. To me, again, this is all from my law enforcement background.
Of course.
It's the dumbest thing in the world to steal something like the Mona Lisa. Why would you do that?
So
You're going to get caught. Here's what I guarantee you, whoever did this will be caught.
So-
Guarantee it.
Okay.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, it's not going to be overnight, because they're doing the best they can to try to hide their tracks. I understand that, because they don't want to be caught.
Of course.
But the reality is, you stole a one-off item.
Yeah.
Why would you do? This goes back to being an FBI agent. Don't be that dumb. Don't steal a one-off items. Go steal cash.
Something that's replicated many times over.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Go steal cash. If I stole the money in your wallet, you wouldn't know. You didn't know I did it. You wouldn't know I had your money. You know what I'm saying?
There's no way to-
Unless you
yeah.
knew the serial number of each bill.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
So it's like, to me, that's just totally insane. People who do that stuff, again, you may get away with it for a little while, but you will be caught.
So you're heading the case. What's your step-by-step on how you're going to catch him?
There are art experts all over the world.
Who you would contact immediately.
I guarantee you they've already been contacted, right? I'll tell you right now, they've all been contacted. They all know. One of these people is going to hear about somebody trying to sell, and I'm just picking one, the Mona Lisa,
Yeah.
the real Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
And it's going to get out. This has happened before. You know that.
Yeah, it happened in, 92, I
I
think?
don't remember exactly, but again, all of it came back. The only time that I know of stolen art, significant stolen art, was during World War II. And you realize all that was also brought back. All of it.
Wow.
All of it was brought back. But the Germans were stealing it, when they were invading Italy and these
Yeah,
other places.
That's crazy.
But it all went back to the right people eventually. Again, it's one of those things. I just find that dumb.
Yeah.
If I
To steal a
stole-
one-off
if I-
object.
Right. If I stole this from you, somehow you didn't know I had it, you could never prove I stole it to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the only way
something
you
like that,
prove it
mass-produced.
is there got to be some proof, that
But if that was the only one ever made,
different story.
and then we find it in your house,
Done deal.
Done
right?
deal.
There's no argument there. That's why I say smart crooks don't do that. I understand people who steal art and they think they're going to make a ton of money off of it, and I know that happens. This happens all the time, all the time, but it happens on a fairly regular basis. They don't get away with it. They never get away with it. You got to just look it up. Trust me on this. They're going to get caught. I think it's the stupidest thing in the world.
Okay.
I mean, this is one of those things that you have to be dumb to think you can steal the Mona Lisa and no one's going to know you did it.
Right, of course.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
The cops are going to work backward. Where'd you get it? Where'd you get it? Where'd you get it?
blah, 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 blah. Oh, this guy stole
There
it.
you go.
It might take a year or two,
Right. It might take 10 years.
but boom.
But eventually-
Because I think
Eventually
the
it's gonna
guy,
happen.
I think the guy who stole the Mona Lisa in the 90s, I think he had it for like 4 years.
Right.
Before they found out who did it.
And there's other cases like that where it was. I think there's cases like where we're talking like 10 years, 14 years, 20 years, where somebody found it, but eventually they get it.
They will find out.
There are experts in this art theft stuff, primarily all over the world, but there's a lot of them in Europe. And that's where a lot of the stuff gets traded. And they know everybody. That's why, again, I'm just telling you, that's the dumbest. Whoever did this is an idiot.
Yeah. So
They're going to pay the price.
I'm amazed that they pulled it off, but
That's
I do
what's
think they will be
crazy.
caught.
That is
caught.
crazy. that they
Especially
pulled
in
it
broad
off.
daylight.
7 minutes is
It's a
insane.
guarantee.
In 7 minutes, in and out, like with all those jewels, insane.
Yeah.
But
And again, it's like, I go back to the whole thing. You want to steal money. Steal gold that doesn't have any kind of identifiers.
yeah,
But even that is hard.
because like I don't know if you know, there's a museum in New Orleans that specifies in essentially stuff that like you would probably never see in your lifetime if you didn't go there. Like
Yeah.
when we went, I mean, I saw Picasso paintings that were on sale for $10 million, and I'm just looking at it like, never in my life would I dream of seeing that in my house. But so I think about that, and I'm like, I couldn't even imagine trying to steal something like as simple as not even a Picasso painting, just a normal painting that might be in this museum worth a couple $100,000 and getting out, much less stealing something like crown jewels that are
Right.
worth tens of millions of dollars and just leaving like nothing ever happened. I don't. To me, it's just crazy.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. It's the nuttiest thing I've ever heard of. Because again, you can go steal a lot of stuff that doesn't have any identifiers. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of
But
stuff
you're
you
going
can
to steal the one thing that
Right.
someone can look at and be like,
I know.
ah, this is this.
Exactly.
This is blah, blah,
We
blah.
know
one-off.
exactly what that is. And so you must have had something to do with the theft. It just keeps going down the line until you find the person who stole it. But people do dumb things.
They do.
Yeah, that's,
And they
that's
do
the
it,
truth at the end
again,
of the day.
for money.
Yep.
And you're gonna pay the price.
Good
There are
enough.
all sorts of crimes you can do and get away with them. I don't want to talk about that.
That's classified.
But that one's not, the stolen art's not a good one.
Yeah, that's classified.
Yeah, that's a classified.
There are a lot of scams out there, a lot of ways, to break or to get people's money away from them.
Oh yeah.
Probably the simplest one in the world is to simply have a good ability to talk people out of what they have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could talk somebody into giving you $10,000
Yep.
There you go.
and they give it to you, have you committed a crime?
No, because you convinced them.
You're
Yeah,
right. You haven't
yeah,
committed
I
a
mean,
crime.
You might be morally guilty,
Yeah.
Right.
but
And again,
legally,
Right.
You're a piece of crap, but at the end of the day,
Right.
yeah, you got it.
No law enforcement's going to come after you.
can't.
That's right. They can't do anything to you.
Good enough.
So make it easy. Don't make it hard.
There it is.
All right. Well, to take us out, we appreciate everyone who's been watching, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did making it. We'll be back next Saturday. It'll just be the two of us. But until then, just keep an eye out. It'll be on YouTube on Wednesday, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.